Okay, so good to see you all. Great. And all right, hello everybody. This is Courage and Chaos. This is where we teach absolute beginners Dungeons and Dragons. And all these people here have started just 2 weeks ago at that introduction show. If you saw episode 1, they were all totally new to D&D, and now we're going to continue the adventure where we left off. This is really, dungeon masters might be interested in this, but anybody's interested, and you all as well, if you're just interested in the process of how people think and how people learn things. I'm a teacher at heart, and I think it's kind of fascinating to watch this process. So I'm really inviting you to, if something puzzles you, there might be people on the video who are also puzzled. So you're doing them a favor by stopping me and asking for a bit of explanation, and by helping each other out as well. So we're going to get stuck right into it. One of the goals that I have at this stage is I want you to experience all the different kinds of D&D. D&D is like several games within a game, and I just want to give you a little sampler, like a chocolate sampler of the kind of things you can have in D&D. So I try to basically spread the experience around. Some people love combat, some people love the socialization, some people love puzzles, right? And I try to get a little bit of everything, even in this one episode. And what I want you to do is think, oh, I really like this part of what Matt did. I didn't like this part of it. That gives you language as you look for other DMs or start other games. You can actually give feedback to the DMs and say, oh, I'm looking for this kind of game, right? And you can sort of find your people that way. Don't be shy to talk about that sort of thing. Okay. So, what are your goals from longest to shortest term? Or if I can, okay, that's good. So you had an original plan. That was to get to the farmland, right? You were on a carriage and you were going to settle in Timberway Valley where there's farms. You can make a new start. Maybe you're running away from something. Maybe you're looking for a new opportunity, running towards something. Those towns are north of a river. But that river is very far north because you, as you know from the last episode, got waylaid. You got kidnapped and brought down here to the Caves of Chaos, which has always been known as a spot full of monsters and treasure, but is very far from these farms. You now can see, you have some ideas like, oh, you heard that those farms that you're heading towards were under attack by goblins, which, goblins are kind of everywhere, and that they only showed up in this world less than 100 years ago, and they've been sort of rampaging through, sort of colonizing the land, essentially. You, however, heard that these farms have very organized goblin attacks. They're getting more and more frequent, and they would also not just do what goblins usually do, which is steal just money and food and just kill for the sake of pleasure, but they're taking machines, farm machines, household machines, and hauling them off as part of their sort of loot. Well, when you came down to this valley, this Timberway Valley, or this Caves of Chaos, you saw some of the goblins carrying those machines and dumping them off in front of the cave that you're brought into. So you think, oh, this might be where the goblins are coming from. This is just to say what motivates you now, maybe to escape. Maybe you just want to escape from here and you want to go to the farms and your story is over. But you might discover oh, maybe we can stop those farms from being raided if we can figure out why the goblins here are causing that trouble. Maybe you can get to the root of the problem. That'll be up to you as adventurers. But maybe also, hey, you want to get stuck into some combat and treasure. You've always been this special person. You've always learned things very fast. You recover from damage very well. You just pick things up better, and you're extraordinary. If you look at your stats, as we talk about, if you have a +2 or a +1 even in one of those stats, it means you're way above average in that particular category. If you have a +2, you are like professional status and that sort of thing. Like you could have a professional job that specializes in that and be first in your field. If you have a +3, we're talking about like worldwide celebrity athlete, celebrity, charisma, rock performer, the wisest, holiest person, the most intelligent scientist, whatever that is. So +3s mean that you are extraordinarily good at that thing. If you have a 0, it means you're just average at that, and so average is fine. And -1, it just means you're a little bit below average. So don't let that bother you too much. So you know that you can really advance quickly if you just get challenged, right? That's what sort of causes you to grow, and that's what experience points are for in the meta term. So you might just want to get stuck in some combat and some treasure and some mysteries because you know that that'll make you stronger, and who knows where you can go. You've heard these stories of heroes, just 1 in a million type people that gain power and become real powerful in the land on a planetary and interplanar scale. You've heard these wonderful stories, and you've got to wonder, maybe I'm one of those people. You can't find out until you get stuck in. That carriage ride, I won't recap the whole thing. It was only 2 weeks ago, and you can always look at the videotape if you want to see the details of it. But a few important things. You saw somebody in silver armor with burned eyes, with a silver visor on. I'm just mentioning that because they acted very strangely. They have these weird burned eyes and that thing on their head. That's something that one mentioned to keep in mind. It's probably sticking in your mind more than usual. Like, what the heck was that person about? You also talk to that red-robed figure around the fire. And there's something very, very chilling about that whole sequence, wearing that particular shade of red, and asked a lot about other people wearing red. That was another sort of highlight sort of sticking in with you. Another thing were the goblins, seeing these streams of goblins coming from where you are to the north. These are all things that are probably most on your mind as you go. Okay. Now, that's the story so far, and if this were before 6, I'd wait until 6 o'clock before moving on to the next stage, so that's the kind of thing that you would miss if you show up exactly at 6. All right, but I try to start at 6 sharp, so we're only a few minutes behind that, and that's great. All right, the most recent scene. So the most immediate thing is you're in jail. You had been captured by the kobolds, traded to some other kobolds, some money exchanged hands, and you got hustled into some jail cells. You cannot see because there's a canvas bag on your head and an iron ring that's sort of attached to, clipped around your neck. You also have manacles on your fingers, on your hands, and so you are really in trouble. You can feel that on 2 walls, you're sort of in a long, narrow space. Along 2 walls is what feels like brick. On the floor and ceiling is brick as well, and the ceiling's maybe 10 feet up, so if you boost each other, you can sort of feel that. On the other 2 walls, this long, narrow space, are iron bars, vertical iron bars. They feel kind of wet and pitted, but they still are keeping you in. There's a door, a cell door, and just feeling around, it just seems like a lock that there's no obvious way to open. More will get discovered once you can finally see. You can also tell by talking to each other and feeling around that you are in 2 different cells. So you, on this half of the table, are in one set of jail cell. Across the room from you 5 are in another jail cell, but all of you can sort of bump into and talk to each other easily, but you can sort of shout across the room. The kobolds that brought you here, they all have receded. But this is a creepy place. You already heard some screaming as you came in. Someone like, "The shard, I'll get the shard! Let me have the shard!" And this sort of frenzied sort of voice, and this sound of metal going through stone. And the sound of machinery, that's sort of you can still hear that down the hallway distantly as the kobolds recede. But there's more to come. What I would normally do now is say, okay, in this moment of deprivation, let's zoom in on each of your characters and how are you feeling, or what's something new about you that we might notice if we could see you. But because we have 10 people and we're also new, I'm just going to generally say that you are all a collection of elves, humans, dwarves, and halflings. What's often called sort of like the civilized races, people who have been sort of building civilization in this area for a long time. You are undoubtedly tired because you've gone all night marching without any sort of rest, and you're pretty hungry and thirsty, you're battered up, you've been marched, you must be fairly concerned, or maybe you're fired up. Maybe you're not concerned at all, but you definitely are worn down a little bit. So that's kind of the best way to describe it. It's a little wounded and worn down. So we'll start playing. A couple things I'll just recap for the intro, very small capsule since you're all here. I don't have to go too much deeply into it. But remember, the most important thing is we're collaborating on a story together. So it's not like a computer game where I'm the computer, you're the players, and you just try to get as much stuff out of me and I just try to kill you, right? We actually are partners in making a great collaborative story together. And a great story has ups and downs for both me, like you prevail against my world in ways that I don't expect. I should roll with that and say, this is going to be a good story if I let this happen. Same thing with you. Bad things will happen to your characters. It's weird because I'll talk about you as a character and you as a player almost interchangeably, but you'll see those are 2 sort of separate things. It's good to have a little bit of distance from your character. So if bad things happen to your character, it's almost like watching a TV show where a beloved character on a TV show has something bad happen to them. You don't feel great about it, but you also know that's what makes the show so exciting, is the ups and downs. So you want to have that sort of flexibility with your character, I reckon is a good thing. Remember the 3 elements that we're dealing with. The world is under my control, the rules and what's there. I try to hold myself honestly to what's there. I don't try to arbitrarily change the world and rules just because I want to mess with you. I really try to follow what I've already written down. But that's under my control. You have choices. They're entirely under your control. I can't make you do anything. You have full autonomy. There are times where I might suggest something, but if you want to do something besides my suggestion, that is up to you. There might be consequences of that, but that's part of the fun. So you're entirely in charge of those choices. And then the third element is the dice. The dice are under nobody's control. No matter how psychic you are, the dice are not able to be controlled by anyone. I have to deal with the consequences of the dice, and so do you. And it's sort of like improv comedy, where random stuff kind of makes the story a lot better that way. So rolling, literally and figuratively, with the dice is sometimes a really nice way to kind of see it as a way that gives unexpected twists. So nobody's in charge of the story, and that's the great thing about it. The last thing is, speaking of improv comedy, is say yes. It's one of the rules when you're doing sort of comic improvisation, is it's great to sort of roll with each other's suggestions, say yes to each other as much as possible. This goes with your characters. We really encourage you to be a character that can be entirely different than you and be a very unusual character. You might speak with a strange accent that you're trying on for the first time. You might be a different gender, a different age, a different level of education. You might come from a totally different background. And as you play that on the table, I want you to feel safe to be that, and let's not sort of drag each other down and make fun of each other for those choices. Roll and say yes to each other's character choices. Also, if your character's a little bit mean, remember it's not the player that's mean, it's their character that's being mean to your character. So sometimes you say, okay, as a player I'm into it, but my character is mad at you, and that distinction is fun. I try to say yes to your crazy ideas as well, with a couple caveats. In order for this game to be fun, you sort of progress and get more powerful. So sometimes I'll say, yes, that's a great idea. Sometimes I'll say, yes, I'll give you a +1 on that roll. It's a little something that'll help. You don't automatically succeed, but I'll give you a little edge. That's a good idea. I might say, yes, if you roll very high. Like, that's hard to do, but I'm not going to say it's impossible. You just have to let the dice decide. I might say, yes, when. Like, yes, that's an awesome idea. When you're level 3, you can actually do things like that. But right now you're level 1, so something to look forward to. I don't want to take away the joy of becoming level 3 by giving those things to you right now. It's just not the way the game works. So I'll try to say yes with those caveats. Okay. So you have gotten moved in the kobold cells, and I'm going to jump around the timeline. So I'll do some little retcon, jumping back and forth in the timeline a little bit. So remember, while you're in your cell, you remember some things that just recently happened to you. Remember the exchange of those coins, and remember all that monster activity in the valley, the canyon that you were in. You saw orcs, you saw goblins, and you saw 2 groups of kobolds. You remember those goblins coming from the north with that machinery, dumping it in front of the cave that you're just brought into. And when that happened, they were sort of arguing with the kobolds. Not all of you understand the languages they were using. Some of you do. So you shared with each other what you understood of this. And there's some sort of like bronze tablet that the kobolds have. They're sort of like clicking sort of levers and pushing buttons on a big bronze little flat machine that they have as they're sort of looking at the machines and negotiating with the goblins. This is a classic example. I'll mention something once and then I'll move on. It'll be up to you to say later on, you don't have to write down everything I say. But if you remember, say, oh, I want to check out that particular thing. I'll go another level of detail deeper into all these things if on your turn you decide I'm going to spend my turn digging into that. So sometimes things like make a mental note, like I want to find out more, or might remember it in a few sessions. The goblins, they're kind of mocking the kobolds. The goblins are stronger than kobolds and sort of intimidating, but the kobolds are more numerous, so they seem to have a kind of a détente with each other. But the goblins, their main joke is like, oh, how much can we pay you to take these people away and eat them? Like, oh, they look very tasty. I'll give you 3 copper pieces to take this one to eat. And the kobold's like, no, fuck off. These people are valuable. No. Because you remember, you were sold these kobolds for a purpose. And you might remember from the previous story what that was. You see the goblins headed north to banners. As I said, there's a big goblin up front that has a banner, like sort of full human size, and other goblins are more kind of halfling size, child size, but they're very bulky and heavily armed. And as they're going, some of you know Goblin, I believe, on your language sheet. I think, oh yes, you are the cleric, or you're the wizard. Yes. So you wizards, you don't have to know this, but you'll see that there's a section for languages that you know, and so you understand that, but you share it with everybody else, right? So the wizards understand that, and they hear this as they're marching, sort of like a marching song. Get machines! Get machines! Kill the natives! Take their machines! And they're sort of like chanting that very stridently as they're marching to the north, and they're meeting the other people coming down with those machines dropped off. You remember you're hooded, led into that cave as I described, and you heard that screaming about shards. During this, each of you has a moment to sort of do something special that might help you and the whole group. So we'll go through each of your classes as I talk about. Class is like your job. So clerics with the pink sheets. Raise your hand if you're a cleric. Okay. So you all remember something about kobolds. You remember that kobolds, there's something about the religion of kobolds that's happened. So you rack your brain for what you know about kobold religion. This is where I'm going to introduce something that goes a little bit beyond your stats. So knowing religion is actually based on intelligence, because there's a lot of facts and things. So your intelligence bonus on this side of the sheet is the main thing that you'll add on to your D20 most of the time, just like you did in the intro show. But you can see in the middle of your, just to the side of that, there's a bunch of words for you clerics. And if you look at the cleric's sheet, you have the word religion with a black dot next to it, don't you? That means that you've had special training all of your life. So you is based on intelligence, but you get an extra 2 points. You get an extra +2 on that because you studied so hard. It's called proficiency. Each of you has different proficiencies. And that little thing over there does the math for you, but you'll discover that if you got a black dot next to a skill, it just takes your basic stats, such as intelligence or wisdom or strength, and adds 2 to it. It's called your proficiency bonus. So, clerics, if you look at the history, what is your bonus on history if you roll it? In the
Would
word
it be
history,
in
if
the
you're
skills?
Yeah, so if you're a cleric,
I've just got religion. I don't have
religion.
history.
Sorry, I said the wrong thing.
it's
I meant religion. So what does it say next to religion?
2.
Okay, so you've got a +2 on that because that's based on your intelligence, which is only 0, I believe. So your average intelligence. Remember, 0 isn't bad, but you have a pretty good chance at succeeding because you get that +2. You've at least studied. Maybe you're not the brainiest person. You're much more holy than brainy, but you've studied very hard. So when I say make an intelligence check and you use religion if you've got it, then I'm just saying you can look that up there. Each of you roll a d20 and add that number, in this case 2, to your results. And we'll see whether you're high enough or not.
15.
Okay, very good. So make sure, so it's not literally what's on your die. You've taken the die, you've added something to it, yeah? In both cases? And check each other. Sometimes people make the mistake of only reading what's on their die. I can't tell from the distance.
So you get 18, is that right? 16 plus 2?
Yeah, so what's on your die? Is that 16 on the die? Yeah, so your total is 18. Now you can tell me the math. You can say, oh, I rolled this, but my total is that. But eventually, you don't have to tell me the math. Just tell me the result. Yeah. So you got an 18 total, and you got a what? A 15 total? And you've added it to. Okay. So what I do now is, again, I run the world. I determined ahead of time how high does it need to be to get something out of this knowledge for you to remember this crucial thing. And the more obscure the knowledge, in this case, the higher the number is, right? In this case, that you both got high enough. You both successfully remember something about kobold religion, which is very useful. You remember, and again, you don't have to write this down if you've got a hard job. You never have to write anything down. But if you're the type to take notes, sometimes you remember these things, so you mention it later on. I'll mention it once, and then it'll be up to you to remember. That kobolds worship dragons. You might have noticed that kobolds look quite a bit like dragons. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you something here on what kobolds look like. Hopefully you'll agree with that. Yeah. So kobolds, and I can also show you here. Well, yeah, because that's very small. Let me actually, for you, I'll show it to you in person. It's always good to have some visuals. Brighten this up for you a bit.
That's exactly like what I thought.
Yeah, so you can take a look at here, it's much bigger. Yeah. So you can see they're quite dragon-like. They've got snouts and tails and things. Remember, there's 2 different groups that you've seen, and they're different colorations. They're not that reddish. And so kobolds worship dragons, you remember. They regard dragons, one dragon in particular called Tiamat. Tiamat is the queen deity of all dragons, of evil dragons, or chromatic dragons. She has actually a bunch of different heads that all have different dragon heads. And, nobody here is judged by exactly their species. It's not destiny, but most of the stories you've heard about dragons that are red and blue and green and white and black, I think there's the 5, they're almost all stories of just dragons that have no regard, for certainly civilized life and greedy and violent and all that stuff. Tiamat definitely epitomizes that. So there's all kinds of stories about how horrible Tiamat is, an evil deity. So they worship Tiamat. They love Tiamat, and they want to give sacrifice to Tiamat. You, through your history, through your religion, you actually remember successfully, thanks to your role, a phrase in Draconic, which is the language of dragons, and that's what the kobolds speak. You remember to repeat this phrase, and it's something that's designed to, basically, it's kind of like a stern, what would Tiamat do kind of question. Like, are you really doing right by Tiamat right now? Like, I know you've been up to things that Tiamat wouldn't like. You're just faking, you have no idea. But you see if you can intimidate them. Blindfolded and handcuffed as you are, you sort of say this to one of the kobolds, see if you can get a rise out of them. Both of you manage this phrase, and so both of you succeed in doing so. Each of you have a kobold next to you, like, oh, no, it's okay, no, I worship Tiamat. No, this thing, it was given to me. I know it's wrong. Here, you take it, hide it from me. Tell Tiamat that I'm good. So, or tell Tiamat that, not that I'm good, tell Tiamat that I'm very reverent. And something is pressed into your hand. You can't see it now, but pretty soon you'll be able to see it, so I'll describe it while you've got it in your hand. It feels like a fragment of glass. Later on when you see it, it is a shard of glass. It looks like a broken off piece of glass, but it's a mirror. It's like a piece of a mirror. On one side it's reflective, that's what mirrors do. But it's blood red, like the reflection is a bloody red color. And so write down on your, sort of near where your gold coins are, these are important possessions, that might become handy. Write down red mirror fragment. So you each, only the clerics, because you're the ones that succeeded, have a red mirror fragment. Now at any time you can give it to somebody else, just erase it from your character sheet and give it to somebody else. Your character sheet is your database, and I trust you to keep track of all these things accurately. Wizards, you have a different moment to shine. So you have Arcane Training. This is based on intelligence, but also you might be trained, I think you are trained in something called Arcana. So as you see in that column of skills, if you've got the purple sheet with the wizard, you see that Arcana is, again, the way of magic, feeling magical powers, magical signs, and studying all that stuff. So you are good at sort of detecting magical energy, little fluctuations in magical force. And you notice a little surge of energy near your fingers as you're stumbling along. You've been sort of trailing them on the wall, maybe just holding yourself up, but ooh, something makes them tingle. And you think there's a source of magical power that's kind of coming up. If you're good enough at the Intelligence Arcana check, you'll be able to locate what that is and maybe get a little prize as a result. So again, it's based on your intelligence, but you're going to add 2 to that, to your intelligence, because you're trained in Arcana. So wizards, what is your plus that you do?
5.
For Arcana is
5, exactly. So both of you, all wizards, is 2. You 2 wizards, roll your d20 right now and add 5 to it and tell me the total.
8.
10.
8 and 10. Now, when you roll especially low, I always like to say, like, if you roll really low, it's mostly bad luck. If you roll kind of middling, it's like, oh, if only you'd studied this particular subject a little bit harder, you would have succeeded. But you did not succeed. What was your total? 10? Was like, no, not good enough. So it passes by, you know, like this, oh, wait, so there's some things like, oh, what do I remember about this kind of energy? Oh, it's too late. You got sort of hustled along. So you did not get the opportunity to get a little prize from there. But maybe with further study, you can keep your eye out for that. Noble fighters with the yellow sheets. Who's got a yellow fighting sheet? You do. Okay.
That's me.
Yep, so you're a fighter that has a noble background. You were all being pushed together. On the left side, as you're sort of stumbling through this passage, there was noise, that machine noise is coming up ahead, and as the machine noise gets really loud, you sort of bump up against it, and there's a big iron or some metal portcullis that you brush up against, which are vertical bars with them cross things like a big gate that can lower across an opening. So you're there. You hear a lot of kobold noises back there and machine noises, and that screaming, I'll get the shard, is all back there as well. But as you go by, something hits you. Like, you're wearing your armor, but still, so you don't take any damage. But it's like scratching your armor, man. I mean, that's rude. So it's not, but it's sort of slapping at you. And as you sort of thrash around with your hands, there's this little arm that's like flogging you with something. So, give me that. You're kind of trying to wrestle this thing away before it really hurts you. It's apparently like a kobold arm that's sort of swinging something. If you succeed at the following check, you might be able to get something for it. So as you try to wrest it free, we're going to do a strength check. So it's based on your strength. But this is actually also based on athletics. Athletics is anything that would be kind of like an Olympic sport, right? You've trained at things like wrestling. So you actually know maybe some judo or wrestling. That's an athletic skill that you've learned. So again, you add 2 to your strength, and that means that your total roll plus will be what? What will you add onto your plus?
5.
5, exactly. So it's 3 for the strength and 2 for proficiency. You see, this is all very common. So you roll a d20, add 5, and tell me the result. See if it's high enough.
14.
14 is enough. Okay, it's close. You sort of wrestle back and forth. So it's a close thing, but you sort of do that sort of judo arm twist thing and get it out of his hands. Again, you can feel it. You sort of stuff it under your armor, just like that red mirror shard did. You can look at it later. It is a silver, like a machine belt, like it's a chain that comes out of a fine machine, that would distribute force within a machine, like a bike chain. But it's very shiny silver. It's got a very fine oil on it. And it just seems like it came from a very sophisticated machine, not like a grunty farm machine. And it's again, bright silver, and a fair length. So you've got that. Maybe it would be useful for something else, or at least maybe you could sell it. So write on your sheet, silver machine belt. Okay. Who here's a folk hero? You've got the green sheets. Okay, it's great. 1 folk hero. All right. So, folk hero. You are an outdoorsy type, as you can probably tell by looking at your thing. So you're comfortable outside, and while you're outside, you're always kind of scanning the horizon. This is before the bag was put in your head, so I'm rewinding, back before you got brought into the cave. And they're arguing about how much to pay for you, but they're distracted, so you're going to take a look around. We're going to do a wisdom check, because wisdom's all about perceiving things, like picking up details, just reading the gestalt, of the room. But you also, this is about survival. You're looking for something that can help you survive, and I believe you have a proficiency in survival. This is listed there. So you see you have your wisdom plus, and then another +2 on top of that, because you're going to do a survival check based on wisdom.
Okay.
What is the total plus that you will have?
Is that my survival's +3? Is that right?
Sure, yeah, because if you look at what's your wisdom stat, so on the big numbers
so
there.
+1.
Exactly, yeah. So you start off with wisdom 1, but you actually know survival quite well, so you get that extra 2. So you get a +3 on this roll.
Okay.
Now you'll see that some people get a +5, some people get a +3. You know, this is just sort of what makes your character distinct. You know, it's one thing you're good at, but it's not your very best skill. But you still have a good chance. You're going to roll a d20, please, and add 3, and tell me the results.
5.
Okay, so you rolled a 5. Have you added anything to it? Or
No,
that's
I
a
rolled a 2.
You rolled a 2. Oh dear. That would be just very bad luck. Right?
Yeah.
So let's say, yeah, you tried that out. You were looking around, and you did notice like there's a bush, and there seems to be like some spatters of blood. But you know, just at that moment, you know, one of the kobolds like, hey, you know, pay attention. You know, you're about to get captured. Hey, this one's looking around. Like they poke you a few times. So you just sort of with bad timing, you get spotted. Just as you're seeing something interesting in the bushes. You do not get a chance to pursue this. You just had a sense that something useful was there, but not this time. Rogues, you got blue sheets. Okay, all right. How many rogues? Raise your finger if you got rogues. Oh, wow, 4 rogues. Okay, good. Rogues are very flexible characters, so even though it's an unusually high number, rogues they're good at fighting and they can sneak and all that stuff. So it's fine to have a lot of rogues in the party. If we had like 8 wizards, that would be a problem. 8 fighters would be a problem. You know, you want to have some battle, but rogues are kind of already in the middle. So rogues, here we go. Hopefully one of you will succeed at this. So you are bound and blind, but that does not stop you from being rogues. You might have read that you have a criminal background. That's something that you probably shouldn't ignore right now because it actually affects your stats and skills. But you can decide not to be a criminal by remaking your character. But for now, you actually have some experience with criminality of a certain sort. And that means that you're very good at hearing the jingling of a coin purse somewhere near you, where the kobolds have these things hanging from their belts. You have memorized that sound. And of course, you're going to try and get a chance to sort of get it off of them. And it's going to be tough because you're blindfolded and bound, but you're really good at this. It's based on dexterity, so you start off with your dexterity bonus, but you have something called sleight of hand that you're proficient in. This is something, again, you've studied all your life. Basically, pickpocketing is like a polite word for pickpocketing, but also like little card tricks or slipping something in or out unseen. That is a sleight of hand. So, what is your total plus if you look at your sleight of hand skill?
+5.
Yeah, exactly. 3 for the dexterity, 2 for sleight of hand. So, roll the d20 and add 5 and see what happens.
1.
Oh, 1. Oh,
6.
dear.
Right.
19.
19, okay.
22.
22, ah.
I got
25.
25, holy
Yeah.
cow. Oh, you're all that. Now, if anybody ever rolls an actual 20 or a 1 on your die, it will become significant.
Oh, I added the...
No, you just add 5 to the 17.
Yeah, again, please, it's good for you to check each other. So what did you roll over there?
So
You rolled
it's
17?
total.
Yeah.
You don't
Oh,
add the...
not
yeah.
that. Not
Yeah,
that.
your
It's
5
not
is your
plus them
increased
together.
version
Yeah.
of that.
So
Oh,
the
yeah.
5 is that plus the 2. So
Oh, I see. Yeah, so you don't have.
22.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's less
Yeah.
math than that. Yeah, exactly. So that's still very high. Good. Yeah, good. Thank you for checking each other out because this is all stuff that I can't spot. Good job. So, but it's still a very high number. So yes, if you got a 12 or higher, so everybody apart from you rolling.
How many hit points do I lose?
You don't. Fortunately, you don't lose hit points on this one. Now, if you ever roll, if your actual die says a 1 or a 20, it's always good to shout like, I got a natural 1. That means that before you add or subtract anything, you got a 1 on the die. Or your critical failure, it's sometimes called. A 20 is also a crit or critical success. Special things do happen with that, so do call out and shout, especially if it's 20. I won't do a penalty for you with a natural 1, but eventually we'll get into that. That means, let's just say I invite you to role play that, man, you've never been good at pickpocketing. So let's imagine you had a story in your backstory. It's like you had some bad luck pickpocketing.
I'd already thought about my backstory. Like, the
Please
reason
do.
I left the city was because I took more than I should have. And so now I was like, should I? Maybe not. And I kind of half-heartedly go through and scrape through his body. And
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so what I like to do is that these 1s and 20s, they kind of randomly, they change your story a little bit. I invite you to do something in your backstory. So yeah, you have a very bad history with pickpocketing. You say, okay, Timberway Valley, here we go, new start. But no, you completely blow it like you get slapped by the kobold as you try to steal it. Those of you who rolled higher than the 12, that was the threshold necessary, you do successfully steal the coin purse. Again, you can feel it, but you pocket it. Later on when you see it, it's interesting in that it's a coin bag, but it's made of red leather. Scratched is all cinched tight. Scratched in the leather, obviously just by hand, not formally printed, is crude lettering that says "Devil money, don't touch." Well, of course, you've got to take a little peek. You're not going to touch the coin inside, but you can still take a little. You can see inside the coin purse, there's a shiny gold coin, very bright and shiny. A single gold coin. It's like, what was the jingling sound? That's weird. But anyway, okay, it's in there. You might decide later on that you are going to touch it, but so just write down coin bag, write down devil money, coin purse, quote, devil money. If you decide to spend that, you're on your honor by saying, by the way, I'm taking that gold coin out so I can spend it or give it to someone. So you can make that decision later on. Heed this warning, devil money, don't touch. It's like, I'm not going to believe that. So a little bit of a mystery there. So you can write it near your GP section, but it's not quite spendable yet. Okay, so you see everybody's had a chance. This is how skills work. Again, very basic, little bit at a time, but you all are good at different things. And you'll tend to gravitate to things you're naturally good at, but you can try anything. Any one of you, like the rogue could have done the religion check, the wizard could have done the athletics check. You would still be based on a stat. You just wouldn't have quite as much chance of success. But you see, you've got 20 on the die, and these stats are like up or down by 1, 2, 3, or 0. So, there's a combination of the two, luck and what your character's good at. All right. So, now we're all in the present again, having had those little bits of adventure all in parallel as a prisoner. Again, you're wearing your armor, but you have none of the stuff. So if you've been looking at your possessions, don't get too excited, because nothing on your character sheet as far as objects and possessions is actually with you apart from your armor. You don't have your weapon, you don't have your lockpick, your thieves' tools, you don't have your magic components that allow you to cast most spells, or your religious symbol that does the same. You are bereft. So we'll worry about that later on. And again, you're bound and hooded. We'll describe that soon. This is where you get to have a little exchange with your neighbor, right? So as you're settling down before sleep, because you're exhausted, right? As much as you like to escape from the cell, you're depleted, you're very tired, so you might as well sleep while you can. But beforehand, as you settle down, you might have a little chat with your neighbor. So talk with at least one neighbor on one side of you, but try not to leave anybody out. If anybody's left alone, try to include them in a three-way conversation. So just get into a chat with your neighbor or both neighbors on either side. And your job in the next few minutes is find something that the two of you have in common. Now you can just make it up, obviously your backstory is very flexible. So, maybe you got on the carriage at the same stop, and if so, did you know each other already? Like maybe you were enemies, maybe you were friends, maybe you're family, you might be parent-child, you might be brother-sister, or brother-brother. You might be employer-employee, all kinds of things you could sort of make up there. So come up with a little entanglement. Or maybe you both came to Timberway Valley for the same reason, like you both have a similar sort of motivation, and that's what you have in common. So just make up something with a neighbor about why you came to Timberway Valley. Just do it all on your own. I'll listen in, but you make a note of whatever you decide once you settle on something. But otherwise, I'll just kind of listen in for a while. Go for it.
Why'd you come? Well, why you
Because you're
hometown was destroyed by dragons. I'm my brother was this is around it.
Because like my backstory is that I'm supposed to be like
It's hilarious.
See, I'm more like, I got in the city because I wasn't really a thief or like anyone I was actually involved with. My character was just sort of been forward because the guy got all the whispers.
I think that would
he's got this stealth thing, this deception and stuff like that. He's not quite a fighter, he's just really good at not being there. And so, like, he's a way of informing and trusting people, persuading deception. Possibly. I mean, like, I wasn't like a high level person, I was just kind of like the bloke campaign of listing and like passing.
We're about halfway through our time, so if one person's done all the talking, let the other person talk.
Yeah, so, I
I
don't
feel
know.
like
Yeah, sound like he's done it.
Yeah, I mean, would you the other one
I keep changing. What's your character?
just getting out of the way.
Yeah, well, when I was
He doesn't really remember. It's just, it's like we see it at look and that kind of,
I watch it like every year. It takes out
Okay, 1 minute left. So
I'm going to 2 hours. My rebel friend. I don't know how old I am, but I'm
It sounds picture kind of like a kind of an old one.
and it stayed like it went for 8 or 9 seasons, and like the end seasons are still really good.
It's so old.
Sometimes when like shows go for ages, they just get it's like yeah, definitely.
what about this stuff and this library? I don't want to know.
Okay, finish that last sentence or two.
Like you tell a story.
Very good. Ah, you're such a good group. I heard all kinds of great stuff. I'm so good to gain stuff. And this is what D&D is all about. It's all about interpersonal stuff and making up your story and all that stuff. And I really can hear great things happening. So good job, everybody. Okay. So, exhausted, you fall asleep. If you're an elf, you don't technically sleep. You do 4 hours of meditation. You're able to sit there, and you're awake, and you can perceive things. So it's really great if somebody's sneaking up on you in the middle of the night. But you have a bag on your head, so it's probably about the same thing as sleeping, as far as you're concerned. This might be like, as an elf, how often have you meditated while completely blind? You know, this might be. I guess this is what sleep is like. So you eventually wake up in the morning. This is like after 8 hours is where most people need to sleep. When you wake up, I go through a little checklist. This is standard. You've done what's called a long rest, something in Dungeons and Dragons that you want to definitely seek after several big adventures during the day. You want to have a long rest. The good news is your hit points all come back. You get to erase all of the damage you've taken, so you're at your maximum hit points. This is what's so special about you. The average person, and there's people in your cell with you, like there's other carriage passengers, sort of so-called NPCs, non-player characters. They're like level 0, essentially. They don't wake up feeling totally fine. You know, they take days and days to recover, like any normal person would. You've always had the power, sort of like your wounds just kind of scab up really well. You know how to fix up your armor, and you wake up just kind of full of energy. Hit points are both just like how much blood you've lost, but also it's like your fighting spirit, or the repair of your armor, or your ability to sort of dodge out of the way. It gets worn down when you're at 0 hit points. You're just exhausted and dying. So that's good. This is also when various powers recharge. We will go into that at future sessions, but like if you had used up spells, you get more spell power back. You who cast spells, you're about to start a new day. So some of those big spells that are listed there, say you can only do these once or twice a day or 2 times a day. Remember, that all day you have to get another long rest to reset that little clock. So those are your big spells. You also have little spells you can cast as much as you want. So a long rest is when you would come back there. And a few other things. You get awakened by screams. There's a creaking of the door. This is before you're really able to react. So quickly, somebody has snuck in, opened one of the cell doors. If it's odd, it's over on this side. It's even, so it's on your cell. Someone has been taken out. This is one of the non-player characters I talked about, but this is someone who's been in the carriage with you. Her name is Thogrim. She's a half-orc, so she's very big. She's got an academic gown on, and she's very learned. Like she was doing a lot of like reading and writing, and wasn't very chatty. So you don't know a lot about Thogrim. But Thogrim was, for whatever reason, the one taken out of this cell, and this cell door slams shut before you have a chance to react. And you can tell that as kobolds, many of them, sort of hauling her away. And she was like, what is it about? No, you don't need to take me. And then they start saying, they say in their own language that some of you understand, it's like, we got some questions for you. Questions, yeah. So they go on, I don't know anything. And so her voice is getting fainter as you go down. After a couple minutes, you can hear down there the sound of torture. Now we know that some people are a little squicked out by things. You can always give me feedback that says like, Matt, don't describe torture. It sort of gives me the heebie-jeebies. You can actually send me messages or whatever else. I'll learn sort of things like that. So I'll leave it to your imagination what that sounds like. But this is a grim storyline. It's like Game of Thrones, and this is just the way that things happen when you're in the hands of evil creatures. So you have a good idea about what the kobolds are up to. You hear the kobolds making noise, but you hear a new voice. It's this voice that is talking like this, is talking in common. They say, what do you know about the Kriegskaska? There's this weird word with a bunch of K's and X's in it that doesn't seem to be in the common language. And so, I don't know what that is, Thogrum says, this thing. And so, oh, what, the orrery? That's not mine, I don't know anything about it. So, no, you're not telling me the truth. And like you hear screams from her again. She's always being tortured by not revealing what she knows about the orrery. Or that, and they interchange with that weird long word that I talked about. So, that is happening, and that must sort of raise your sense of alarm. Also, as you get up, you realize you are very hungry and very thirsty. But as the urgency goes, like, okay, you need to get your strength back because shit's starting to get real. You need to eat at the beginning of every day. All of your rations, you might have some written on your character sheet, but you don't have those. Those are somewhere you don't know, so you have to improvise. Luckily, there's fungus, there's mushrooms and stuff growing in the cracks of the bricks all around the floor, the sort of wet, drippy floors dripping from the ceiling. And you realize that if you sort of like tear it up with your hands and stuff it up underneath the ring in your bag and then mash the bag against your mouth, you can sort of slowly eat these mushrooms. The ones who are trained in survival, you folk heroes, being trained in survival, yeah, they're edible, they're unpleasant, but they're edible, they won't kill you. So you all make a meal of mushrooms. So you're not hungry today, even though you don't have your rations. That's good news. The bad news is you clear the whole place of mushrooms and they obviously don't grow back very fast. So, okay, what are you going to eat tomorrow? But today you're fine. Thirst. Again, you don't have your water skins wherever you normally drink and you're very thirsty. But again, good luck. There's puddles on the floor where all that dripping from the ceiling is accumulated over the weeks and months. So again, if you sort of press your bag against that and sort of suck through the canvas, you're able to slowly get enough water to restore yourself. So you're not thirsty today. If you're hungry and thirsty, you're kind of weakened during that day. So that's a good thing. But again, you sopped up all the puddles and they don't seem to be regenerating all that fast. What do you do tomorrow? Then you just, as you woke up, you felt maybe a little feverish or diseased. As soon as you got in, even before you slept, you were starting to get bitten by terrible fleas, and these bites are getting a little infected. Whether they affect you a lot or a little is based on a concept that I'll do, which you did before, which is a saving throw. But this is all of you are going to make a saving throw, and it's based on Constitution. So don't roll, because typically I'll describe something, and then I'll say roll. So in this little box, right? So this is very confusing to some people because you have your big numbers that say strength and Constitution over here, but in the little box it says Constitution again. And there's a number next to Constitution. Now usually they'll match. Whatever you have over in this column is over there. But if you have a black dot next to it, you'll notice that it's 2 higher than your Constitution because you're proficient at Constitution saving throws. Again, you've lived a life that has sort of made you tougher than usual. You've trained yourself to handle deprivation, cold, exhaustion, disease, things like that. So whatever your little number on the Constitution is, that's where you're going to add to your D20 when you roll it, and you always want to roll high. Not like you can affect it, but if you can, this is the time to do it. So everybody roll your D20 and add your own personal Constitution bonus from that little box.
Nat 20.
Woo! All right!
Nice.
Very last roll, I guess.
First nat 1 is first nat 20.
Critical success.
Hey, critical
Yeah.
success!
Yeah.
Exactly, 2 natural 20s. Good job. 3! Holy cow! Oh, that's amazing. Okay. That's great. So again, I'll invite you to sort of make a backstory. Like maybe in your life you've been exposed to a lot of disease. You may be just naturally good at it. Maybe you've done something in your life that sort of has toughened you against disease. Maybe you survived a plague or something like that. Maybe you've gotten vaccinated. I don't know. But you've got some sort of special toughness against that. And eventually this will actually affect your stats. For now, just make it a story thing. So if you rolled a 10 or higher, so raise your hand if you rolled a 10 or higher. Okay, 2 did not make it. Okay, so if you rolled a 10 or higher, you lose only 1 hit point from this disease, these infected bites. So everybody who rolled 10 or higher, subtract 1 hit point. If you did not roll 10 or higher, you subtract 2 hit points. This is very typical. Very often a saving throw that does damage, you take half damage if you make your save. And that's what happened here. Lost 2. So, you're totally all right now. Now you're not all right again. That's the way it works. So you realize you need to get out of here, right? You cannot survive this for long. So you start checking out your surroundings. All right, with a bit more urgency. As I said, you've got the 2 halves. You're all in 2 different cells near each other, but you can't reach each other. And as you feel those rusty iron bars, some of you are smart enough to kind of go up there and realize that not all the bars go all the way to the top. The water that's been dripping down has been sort of rotting away and rusting away the iron bars. So the bars that normally would connect little sockets in the top and bottom of the roof and the ceiling and the floor, they're sort of narrowed to a point, but sort of like a wicked, nasty point. But theoretically, someone could climb over through that little gap over those bars, but you certainly can't do it while your hands are tied, because it's called disadvantage. If you really want to, this is D&D, I'll let you roll for it, but your chances of success are a lot lower until your hands get free. But at least there's that way out. And also, the iron bars, the iron bars are quite pitted and rusty in several places, they don't seem to be in very good shape. You have in the cell badly ailing fellow passengers, right? Thogrim used to be one of them, and each of you have at least one or two others that are there, but they're still basically unconscious. They do not recover like you did, and they took it pretty hard. The door in your respective cells is locked. You can tell there's a keyhole on the other side, but no, you cannot use a bone chip or anything as a lockpick. This is not MacGyver. You need your thieves' tools in order to pick it. It should be relatively easy. It doesn't seem like a sophisticated lock, but without your thieves' tools, you have no chance of actually picking that lock. But that would be something that might be a goal of yours, to figure out where your thieves' tools are. Once you've checked that out, several minutes pass, and then you hear the sound of the torturer and Thogrim starting to come back. Thogrim seems very weak and frenzied, and she's like, "No, don't take me back there. The fleas, I'm this wet. There's nothing to eat. I don't know anything. Please, just let me free." But the goblin voice is getting closer. It's like, shut up. We'll have to ask everybody the same questions over and over again until we get the answers we want. And so she's like, "I don't know anything." But they are getting closer. So now you know the torturer is coming back to get somebody else to torture, and it's almost certainly going to be one of you. So this cranks up the urgency and your hero's like, fuck this, you're gonna get out of this cell any way that you can. So we now are kind of on a time clock, and every action that we take just happens over the course of a few seconds as we go. So imagine it's sort of like slow-mo as you're all acting. Your main goal is to free your hands and be able to see. Everything you do is harder unless you have those two things free. So that's your first thing. So on your turn.
What material was binding our hands?
It's manacles. They're quite strong, iron manacles that are binding you together. But the weird thing is, you realize that they don't have a keyhole. You can't really feel your own manacles because your hands are bound. But if you kind of feel each other's manacles, it seems like there's a series kind of buttons and switches. You realize that there's buttons that can be pushed. Anything. I think it's kind of like a bit of a puzzle box. If you just dexterously squeeze these buttons on the manacles in the right order, they might spring free. It's like a key. So that's one thing you can do. You can open up the manacles. But if you try to do it to your own manacles, you'll have, again, what's called disadvantage. Your chances of success are low. If you do it, I'll explain what that means. But doing it to somebody else in your cell is relatively easy. So on your turn, everybody's going to get a turn. We'll start here and we'll go counterclockwise, and we'll just go around the table a few times. As time starts running out, you have a limited number of moves that you can make before the torturer comes. One of the things you do is free somebody from their manacles so their hands are free. The other thing you can do is rip the bag or maybe break the iron ring. The manacles are dexterity, so it's going to be a dexterity roll that you're going to do if you're trying to free someone from manacles. Now again, even if your dexterity is not your best thing, you can still choose to do it anyway because you think it's more important. The other thing is to let somebody see. You've got to get the bag ripped open, so you need to be strong enough to rip the canvas of the bag or break the iron ring around their neck. So that would be a strength check. And again, while your hands are manacled, you can't really do it to yourself. You just can't reach the right angle, but you can do it to somebody else more easily. All right, so I'm going to go around each of you. Basically, this is how D&D turns work, just like you might remember from the introduction. You get to do an action. You also get to do a move, but there's really nowhere to move to. You're just stuck in a cell, so we'll cover moving around later on. You're able to easily reach each other, and as you're sort of surveying people in your cell, communicate with each other in this sort of fun way where if your hands are together, if your character's hands are together, then hold them up like this. When I say, everybody show your status like that. And if your eyes are covered, also just sort of hold your hands in front of your eyes. If your hands are free, but your eyes are still covered, go like this. If it's the opposite, if you're manacled but you can see, then just keep your hands down here. It's a quick way to sort of show, here's the problem that I've got. So you are first. You are from the civilized end of town, so you're the ones that kind of think of these things fastest, but we'll get to everybody. So you can pick any one of those things. What do you do?
I think, I'll try and free someone's hand.
Okay, so you have to decide which you can only do to one person.
You can communicate.
Yes, you can all talk to each other. Yeah, you can quickly talk, but I'm going to make you sort of decide within several seconds.
Is the shard sharp enough to cut the bag?
Ah, okay. When it gets to your turn, those are things like, I'll say, yes, I'll give you a +1 for that. Yeah, so you might get it won't automatically work, but it might give you a little bonus. Yeah, so stuff like that.
So did you have a suggestion on who to?
Yeah, mostly it's for you. Yeah, you can take ideas, but it'll ultimately be your
He's
decision.
going to give us a +1. Should we go with who has shards?
Well, we're in a different side.
Well, let's do one at a time.
Do
Yeah,
these
but that'll put
guys.
us two.
Yeah, we'll start one at a time. Yeah. We'll get to you in a
So I
minute.
think maybe someone who isn't a rogue, so they can use their skills. You know, so we've got.
Well, I've got the highest dexterity, so if you free me, I've got a high chance of freeing someone else.
Sorry, what's your dexterity?
3.
Oh, same as us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
She's also got good strength.
Yeah,
as
that's
well
what I'm
for the
thinking.
future.
So if you free her, she can tear off bags and stuff.
Try and freeze her. What's your name again?
Buffy. Oh, well, my actual name.
That's good. Your character name.
That's my
Good.
character name. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you're going to use your dexterity to try to get Buffy's manacles off. Okay, so roll your d20 and add your dexterity bonus.
11 plus 3. So
Okay, that's good enough. All right, so your hands are now free. And that was your action. It's just that simple. Everybody makes that decision as we go. Your turn.
Sweet. I'm going to try and do the same to you. You're a cleric, right? So I'll do the same for you, so you can use your skills.
Okay, dexterity check, trying to free the manacles.
Don't do that one again. 9 plus 3 again, so 12.
12. Okay, that's fine. That's enough. So again, this is a relatively easy task, but you still took some real skills. Your hands are free. So now you can't see. So if you signal your status, you're like this, but your hands are free. Very good. Next in line, please. What do you do?
So I can only do.
You can do whatever you like.
You can try either.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So you can use your strength to rip open somebody's bag, or you can use your dexterity to take off someone's manacles, or your main ideas.
And your strength is
Okay, wait.
negative 1.
Okay, I'll do one of you. What was your
Which one?
Jess. Jess. Okay, yeah, Jess.
Okay. So you roll your d20 and add your dexterity bonus because you're trying to pop open those manacles off of Jess.
10.
Roll to 10, you'll add that. Yes, great, your total. Very good, yeah. So yeah, again, just giving me that total is great. 13 is enough. Yeah, you can tell the threshold is definitely low enough that that succeeds. Good job. Next in line.
I can't see, can I?
No.
I only have my hands free.
Yeah, but you can sort of tell, you can reach anybody that they can guide you with their voice.
Okay. Wait, does anybody have their eyes open on our side?
No, we should
Nobody can
open
see yet.
someone's eyes.
Okay. And you have your. Okay.
Can rogues jump out windows? Is that right?
Right. So climbing over those bars. So you remember it. So those tricky bars. It'd be nice if you could see, but you think you felt it out pretty well. It is going to be a dexterity check, and it's actually going to use acrobatics, which is something that if you're trained in acrobatics, because you're going to do sort of like
But you
a bit
don't
of a
necessarily
gymnastics.
need to see to be up to.
That's right. You don't need to see, but definitely if your hands are not free, it's going to be very difficult. You'll be rolling with disadvantage.
Can I try and tear off the bag on her head?
Very good. Yes, exactly. So you're going to do a strength check in this case, but strength is one of your better stats. So roll that, add your strength.
So 8 total.
An 8 total, I'm afraid, is not enough. So you pull at it, you just can't quite get it. Next time, if you do the same thing again, if you failed last time, you'll automatically succeed. And of course, if you roll especially high, other special things happen. So keep that in mind, but not this time. What do you do?
All right, I'm gonna try and rip someone's thing open. I think I might do you because wait, are you like a cleric?
Yeah.
So if you can see things to do with like the
Sure.
the people, the dragon little people, maybe you can get some information.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
So
that
I'm
might
gonna do
leverage
that. So yeah,
skill.
that's what I'm gonna try.
Okay, so it's going to be a strength check. Again, you're going to roll a d20, add your strength bonus on this.
4.
4.
I got
Oh, you try and you do not take it. You're in the same situation. If you do the same thing next time, you're guaranteed to succeed.
What are these bags made of?
Did anybody here, I forgot to check, did anybody here get over 15 or over? Did anybody roll especially high? Okay, so do remind me of that, because there's a little bonus for rolling especially high. Now, on the other half, keep going.
A dexterity of 5, so I'm thinking I might.
It wouldn't be 5, so your dexterity, remember, this is not in the little box, you're going to be looking at the big numbers over here. And
okay,
again, this is very confusing.
So
Saving
3.
throws are very rarely done, that's why it's a little box. Almost all the time we'll be looking at
Alright,
the big
so
numbers
look
over
in
here.
the big. Okay, so 3.
Yeah, 3 is good. I mean,
so
you
that's
are
still good.
extraordinarily dexterous.
So I'm thinking I should.
There's the ones.
Yeah.
Okay, take the manacles off of that one.
Take the manacles off.
Great.
I'm
So,
Hilda, by the way.
all right, great. So roll your d20, please,
Oh, yes.
and add that 3 for your dexterity.
7, 10.
10 is just enough. It takes some extra time, but you realize that is just enough to succeed, so your hands are now free. Good job. What do you do?
Matt, how's your dexterity and your strength?
I got high
Yeah, I
strength
got
and low
two
dexterity.
twice.
High strength?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to try to take the manacles off Matt.
Very good. All right, go for that.
So I have +2.
Suffering
Ooh,
over.
it's a 7.
A 7 is not enough. If you do it again, you'll automatically succeed, but
Right.
not this time. You try and can't quite summon the strength to do it. You
Okay.
do. So your hands are free. Your hands are covered.
Like clerics, wizards, have like a lot of knowledge, so I feel like it'd be good if his eyes were open.
Sure.
So
Yep.
I'm
Same logic that we heard over here, and
going
you're talking to each other. You got that idea? Good
try
one.
and open, like, try and rip his.
Okay. All right. Reach over and try Terrace's strength check.
9.
A 9. Ooh, it rips a little bit, but not quite. So now you know, you sort of figure out that, 10 seems to be the magic number in order to do that here. All right, not quite, but again, you will succeed at that next time and keep on rolling. If you roll high, that's great. Go ahead. What do you do?
I'm going to use my dexterity of 2 to try and open his manacles.
Okay,
because
very
he is
good.
very strong.
That's true.
Noble.
All right. Get the strong one going.
7.
Exactly what I did.
The exact same thing. 7 plus 2, I think you said, your dexterity?
Yes.
Oh dear, not
Bow.
quite enough. Yeah, you just can't get your fingers wrapped around those buttons quite the right way, and it doesn't open. Your turn.
I will try and get your manacle. Sorry, what's your name?
Oh, my character name? I don't have a character name. So for now it can
That
just
row.
be Mun.
Wasn't your dexterity pretty low?
Huh?
Wasn't your dexterity pretty
No,
low?
my strength. I'm going to try and rip your manacles off. Can I
Yep,
do
you can
that?
rip the
okay.
bag
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
ripping the
bag
manacles
off.
off might damage them more than you.
Hey.
Hey,
16.
16, very good.
Oh, you
now,
got it.
you got over 15. So you rip open this one's bag. You can now see.
I can
Has
see.
anybody else gotten their bag ripped open yet? So you
Oh,
are
I
the first
forgot
one to
that.
see. However,
Yeah.
you roll so well, at 15, you get to rip open somebody else's bag. You're like, oh, that was easy. You have enough time to do it again. Who else are you going to rip
I'll
the bag
rip your
off?
bag open. But do I roll again?
No, you don't have to roll. Just you rolled so high that you get sort of double the success. Who's are you going to do?
Her hands are free. Should we?
It's his
I
decision.
only got 1, so.
Okay, I'll do you then.
Okay,
So
all
you're
right.
both.
Yeah, that's good. Just kind of roll with the decision as you go. Okay, so both of you see the following, and everybody here knows this stuff. So you don't have secrets from each other. You see some things in this room. First of all, what surprised you is this room has a dim light. That the mushrooms actually have a faint sort of glowing aura about them. There's different mushrooms. These are not the edible ones. There's sort of more fungus on the ceilings and stuff. It's like, what, is my stomach glowing now? No, there's some mushrooms sort of in the cracks that create dim light in this room that make it exposed. And I've drawn out a map here that actually, so I'll remove this here for those of you watching on video. So here's the cells, and this way is north. The north is always away from me. So you are on this half of the cells on the east side, you're on the west side. And you can see that little box around the wall is the door, it's a universal symbol for door. And you can see that the outside edge is where the bricks are, and all the interior lines are the bars going up and down. Those gaps are everywhere, so if you're crossing over those gaps up high, you'll be climbing over just some random spot. You see a couple interesting things. First of all, not to bury the lead as your eyes adjust, there is somebody else in this room who's apparently been here the whole time, and they're standing there on that trap door. I'll describe the trap door in a second. It is a dwarf. The great thing about D&D, I've decided as a house rule, as soon as you see someone, you automatically know the pronouns. Very handy. So you know this is a he, and he's got a little bit of a line of a beard, but his collar, his very heavy armor, his collar comes up almost to where the edge of the beard is, and a sort of clamped down helmet, and is bulky. He also has insignia, red insignia, like a red sash and a red belt, and also sort of like epaulets and what look like military insignia that are also have a lot of red in them. So he looks like sort of a military guy. He is armed, and then once you get used to the dim lights, like you can see through him a little bit. You realize he's semi-transparent. Since we have two people looking, you realize his feet don't quite touch the floor. He's got like a very faint glow about him that's also filling the room, and he's just kind of hovering there. And he doesn't seem to be looking at you. He's marching around, though he's not making any footsteps. He's kind of going in a square around the middle of the room, and you can hear him say something. Maybe he's been saying this the whole time, is very quiet, but I can sort of focus on him, sort of cock your ear. And he says, "Open, doors, On orders. Open doors. On orders. And as he walks around, every once in a while he looks up into one of the corners of the room and kind of gives like a thumbs up sign and keeps on going. You look in the corners of the room, at each of these opposite corners of the room here, there are these metal brackets kind of up in the wall. You hadn't discovered it because they're really tucked up in the upper corners. These metal black iron brackets. And they seem to be clutching at nothing, like they've got sort of arms and things. But in a couple of them on either side, there's a little fragment of red glass, a red mirror fragment. Those of you who got the red mirror fragments, notice it's the same kind of thing, and it's still kind of pinched into the iron sort of claws up in the corners. And he's sort of facing that as he gives the thumbs up for reasons that you don't know. He is marching around what looks like a trapdoor in the floor, like a banded wooden and iron trapdoor that has some sort of mechanism around it. So surrounding the trapdoor is a bit of a mechanical sort of pressure plates or twisting plates of some sort that you can't see very well until you get right up to them. You can see your backpacks. In the north cells, that door up there that's closed has the backpacks behind it. So I'll put a bead down. Well, now I'll just imagine I'll draw it later on at the break. All of your backpacks are there. All of your stuff. You can see like your weapons and stuff poking out. If you can only reach those backpacks and you have to get into that cell to do it, you'll be able to get your stuff, which is going to be very important if you're going to be fighting off a nasty torturer that's still coming at you. To the south, you again see a cell door that's closed, but the bricks are broken open and there's a stone carved tunnel. It's like a hewn tunnel that has been sort of chopped into the stone, sort of curving away. All of the voices and screams and things are coming from that direction. That seems like the one that you got led down before you got brought into the cell, so it is the way out, and this is where your danger is also coming from. So, having seen, you've taken in some of that detail, but we're going to keep going around. So who's the last one to move? It was you.
Me.
Okay. Good job. Partly free, but now it is my turn because as we go around, I get to move. The voices come closer. All of this is taken, this is usually called a combat round where you do these fast actions. Maybe 6 seconds, 10 seconds-ish have gone by. And in those seconds, like these people are coming closer. Thogrim you can hear louder, and you hear the goblin getting closer. You don't know how many more rounds like this before your enemies are on top of you. But as it is, we get to go around the table one more time, and it'll speed up a bit. Now we have a lot of players. I realize this is very slow, but with practice, this all gets faster. As you communicate with each other, everybody right now, tell your status to each other. Who's blindfolded, who's manacled. So as you look at your compatriots, take a look at them to see who's got different problems.
I was going to ask if I can use my charisma to talk to the thing in the middle of the room.
Very good, of course. Now that's one thing that probably doesn't have disadvantage. Like with just your voice, you might be able to do that. Yes, you have a high charisma, one of the stats we haven't really used very much. This is your power to persuade, intimidate, and all those other things. So yeah, you might be able to do that. What is your charisma bonus?
+3.
+3. Now you are trained in something, maybe deception?
Yes.
Yes, so you also you've been a very good liar all your life. You're a very well-practiced liar. So you have two options. You can try to convince them or persuade them by telling the truth, and then you have a +3, I believe you said. If you tell them a lie, then you actually get a +5. However, if you get caught telling a lie, usually the consequences are a little bit worse than just failing to persuade someone. So, yeah, now that you've heard from the people who can see, hey, there's someone in the middle that looks like they're in charge, you pick up that cue and you try to use it. What do you do?
Can I try and convince the person in the middle that I need my bag? I have an EpiPen in there.
You can bring out my EpiPen if you want to use it for a
That's great. Okay, so this is deception.
Yes.
And now you get to roll and we'll see whether that works. So yeah, you try to... Like, hey dwarf.
Okay, 13 + 5.
13 + 5, that's pretty good. I'm going to look up because again with my world. Oh yeah, that's enough. Yeah. Yep, this one is fairly persuadable or fairly gullible, I guess you'd say. It's like, oh, I'm serious. You need to stay alive. And you can see the ghost starts moving that direction. He moves through the bars. He doesn't open the door. He doesn't bend the bars. He just melts through the bars. You can really see he's sort of transparent and insubstantial. He bends down, and at first his hand kind of goes through your backpack, and you think, oh shit. But then he's like, oh, hey. He sort of clunks to the ground. He sort of now turns solid, and again he looks now more like a solid body. He bends down, picks up the backpack, and he wears the backpack. And then he turns transparent again, he marches through, and the backpack transparent like he has come through the bars. He comes over to you and throws the backpack down. He actually walks into your cell and says, EpiPen, here. Puts it off. And he goes off and kind of gives a salute, and he marches back. Health first, he said, and he goes back on his. There's something he's almost very sort of narrow about all this view. He just seems to have a very sort of narrow focus. He doesn't act normal, I guess, as you can already tell. You now have your backpack. Now that was an action, right? So to persuade, deceive someone, it takes time and is an action. But you can do what's called an item interaction for free. So now I'm going to introduce more things. Again, you can move on your turn. If you want to climb over those bars, that's a move. Or if the door ever opens, that's a move. But also, so you get 3 things on your turn. You get to do an action. You get to move somewhere in either order. But also, you get to do some little thing for free. It's called an item interaction. Like, get one thing out of your backpack. Like, you can get out your weapon. You can get out your thieves' tools. You can get out your rations, your goodberry, whatever you got. What do you take out of your backpack?
I was going for the lockpicking.
Yeah, the thieves' tools are called. You've got that out. Yes. Now you have in your hand, but you've spent all of your time. But of course, items are tradable, so you can coordinate a little bit. If you're willing to give up your precious lockpick, somebody else might be able to use it this round. But your turn's over. What do you do?
So the voices of the torturer and the other orc are coming from this direction,
Yeah,
right?
they're coming from this direction, yeah.
So as a rogue, I got +5 performance. Can I pretend with my voice to... He's saying, open doors on orders. Can I kind of pretend to be an authority voice or something like an officer or something, tell him to keep that door closed and make sure no one comes through?
Yeah,
Just to buy us a little more time.
Before, Performance would be good for imitating. If you wanted to convince the goblin down the way, like that, that's something where you can imitate their voice. That definitely could perform. That's one of those things. If this is more like if you're talking to him, he can see that you're not an officer. I think using deception or persuasion is better. And I'm only doing this because I love your idea, and that sort of deception works. But I think it'd be more of a deception sort of thing, which is also all right.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're better at perform. I didn't realize you're so good at performing.
Both deception and performance.
Oh, deception and performance.
Either one's great. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. In this case, let's go with that. So.
15 + 5, 20.
Hey, very good. Okay, so what is the exact thing you're doing with your deception? What's the lie that you're telling to get something to happen?
It's basically I'm pretending to be
an officer,
not necessarily the guy who was torturing the person.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Like a similar kind of authoritative voice.
Right. Yeah.
Basically saying they're trying to get out. Keep the door closed. Keep the entrance door closed.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Guard the entrance. Your enemy approaches.
Yeah.
Keep that. Okay. Good. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to now put a chip on the board to represent things because we're trying to fill some stuff in. Good job. All right.
A little more time to get the doors open and get our packs.
Yeah. So the ghost was over here. The ghost drifts through here and says, "Aye, aye, sir," or "Sir" or "Madam." What's your pronoun?
Sir.
Well, "Aye, aye, sir." He comes drifting over, and I think he said to guard this door.
Yeah, we'll kind of keep it secure, basically.
Yeah, keep it secure. So he turns solid, and he sort of grabs the door, and the door rattles a little bit. He's now got it firmly shut. And he sort of looks at you and salutes. Okay, what do you do? Sure. Yep, so you're a rogue, you have proficiency. So anybody can use thieves' tools, it's based on dexterity, but you're proficient at thieves' tools. Anybody's got a blue sheet, which means you get to add that +2. So if you only had thieves' tools, you would be able to roll dexterity +2, and so you could loan your thieves' tools for a moment to have this happen, or you can get your own thieves' tools some other way. What do you think?
Well, I still have my
Oh, you're still bound.
True. Yes, thank you for your honesty there. I think lockpicking it's pretty much a one-handed thing. So I think that most things you have a disadvantage. So I appreciate you mentioning that. Thank you. Makes it for a good story. But in this case, I'd say that you do not have disadvantage. If you only have thieves' tools, I think you'd be able to do it as well as if your manacles were free. So, do you want to borrow the thieves' tools and give it a go?
Do we want to escape yet?
I don't think we're going to escape, though. Sorry to break it to you.
So, what's the status with our cell?
I've got a bag over my head, but my hands are free.
Oh, good point. Yeah, instead of spending time opening the door, you might want to spend time freeing people. Yeah, it's an important decision.
Whose bag did you rip off?
Yeah, when you got the
you took mine off.
Okay, so
we're
both
got a bonus one, didn't you?
I'm the only one.
Yeah, that's for me.
We're the only two.
Wait, we can
see.
I'm completely free.
I don't want to put boys in the bathroom.
What are you going to do?
So do I.
I can't see them.
Okay. Everybody, so yes, it's great to discuss all things, but let's focus on the action here. Go and try to get the hands free of this one over here. Dexterity check.
8.
Okay, plus your dexterity bonus, or is that with the?
11.
11, very good. Okay, rolled an 8. You added the 3 for dexterity. 11 is good enough. Your hands are now free. Congratulations. Good job. And your action is done. What do you do?
Do I still have the intelligence from before with the religion?
Yes, yeah, you do. You can't. You have to roll again. But if it's the exact same thing, I would say, oh, if you're going to use this exact thing that you learned before, I'll give you like an extra +1 because you're in knowledge that you've already proven you succeed. I'll give you a little extra.
Interesting. So technically no. I'm a bit confused.
Well, yeah. So what was it you're trying to do? I'll walk you through it. So what does success look like? What are you trying to do?
I try and convince the guard
Yeah.
that I've been miscaptured. Because I have the red mirror fragment that represents the security.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, cool. Okay, that's great. So this is an example of like you're using a world fact that gives you a +1, but I'm going to give you a +2 for this. So what you'll do is you're trying to convince the guard. This is based on charisma, right? You're trying to sort of lie to them and all that stuff. But it could be, what you're saying is intelligence. Like if you're good at something, maybe history. Are you very intelligent? Well, what's a skill that you think is good? Religion.
So,
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So this is sort of a religious thing. That's why the kobolds gave it to you. Like that's why it was forbidden. So you're going to use. This is very clever. You're going to use something you're good at. Use your religion. Hold up that red mirror fragment, and you're going to get +2. So you're going to try to convince the guard. And what do you want the guard to do? If you succeed, what will the guard do as a result?
I want him to let. I was guarding my party to a different part of the cave.
Maybe to let you free. Yeah, to like open the doors. Okay, great. So now roll. You're going to roll a d20. You're going to add your religion bonus there, but also add an extra 2 because you're using that red mirror fragment as a result.
So 18 total.
Oh, good. All right. So he's over there holding the door, and he notices that you convince him of this. Like he holds the red mirror. Like, oh, very important. Yeah, the Reds join us. Are you one of us? And you're like, yeah, I'm one of you. That's why I have this thing. I'm very powerful with the religion that this thing represents, whatever that religion is. Yeah, I'm very powerful. And he's like, oh, he looks kind of very reverential, a little bit scared of you. He's like, oh, what's your pronoun? He, she, they? Or yeah. Oh, so sir, what can I do for you? And you say, well, let me free. Open this door.
Okay.
So you do. You succeed. He walks over to near the trap door. I said there's these sort of plates, around the trap door, like sort of these. You notice they're sort of round plates. He floats over. He sort of turns solid and he lands there, and his boot kind of clicks into something. It's like there's like a clicking sound. And he's twisting his boot, and he's moving from mechanism. It's like he does some sort of like little half twist, quarter twist. It's almost like he's working a combination lock. When he's done, your door swings open. So now I'm going to symbolize that with an open door symbol. And then once he does that, he looks. Who gave him the order to shut the door? I was like, door still me? Yeah. Okay, right. So he's sort of huffing and puffing a little bit. Like he's probably worked more than he's worked all century. He's kind of comes floating over, and again turns solid and holds the door shut. So he goes back to his station. Congratulations, clever move. All right. Now, this is where movement can come in. Now you can always climb over the bars especially if you're willing to take a little bit of damage or you got good dexterity. But with an open door, you can move around in the room. So you can do that additional. So you've done that action to get that to happen. Do you want to move around any? Move somewhere else because you're over here in this part of the room, and I could keep track of that.
I moved to the backpacks.
Okay, great. So you come over to this door. What do you do once you're at the door?
Open it.
Yeah. You pull at the door. It's unlocked. I never said the door was locked. You'd be surprised how often people they'll take a long time before they just try opening the damn door. You open that door. So that door is now open. It's available on the map. Yep, good. All right. Do that. That's literally like a 1 in 10 thing where people do that. And you can walk in and get the backpacks. And like I said, you can get one thing out of anybody's backpack for free. Otherwise, if you want to get everything, it'll take an action. And you've already used your action. Very busy person here. But you can take one thing out of your backpack, your weapon, your holy symbol, so you can cast spells, or something that somebody else needs.
That's under the equipment, right?
Yes, under the equipment, yeah.
Okay.
You can also grab from anyone's backpack.
Yes, anybody's backpack, yeah.
Oh, okay. So anything you guys think is handy in your backpack?
I mean, like a lockpick, but then maybe that'd be useful getting the other door.
What's the door? Their door?
Their door.
Is
Yep.
that right? Okay.
Yep, their door is still locked, closed and locked.
So there are still 2 rogue backpacks, or 3 rogue backpacks in there.
Yep, that's a good point. Yeah, there's a rogue over there that maybe you can, I think that's what the suggestion is, but it's your decision. I think what they're suggesting is get the thieves' tools from their backpack and maybe throw it over to them.
I have a tinderbox, so the only thing I could think of would be to cause a fire as a
Also nice.
But I don't know, that's just...
Okay, we gotta keep moving because the torture is coming, so just whatever you got, decide something.
Yeah, you could grab, you've got yours with, there are still 3 bags with lockpicks in there.
Okay.
She can use a lockpick on herself.
So maybe I'll grab a lockpick
Great.
from one of their bags.
Okay, great. Yeah. I think just to keep it simple, why don't you just grab the lockpick from this one's bag? Okay. So now you're all expended. You're standing there with the lockpick in your hand. It'll have to be another turn, but somebody else can take it off of you, whatever else. Okay, you've got it in your hand. Very good turn. Next, what do you do?
So I can like move first and get something out of my bag.
Yeah. Number 6. The number is just what number you are clockwise, by the way, just so you know. Yeah?
I'm going to get my longbow.
Okay, so you move from the cell over here.
Yeah.
Let me know if you want to. So what square you're in might matter later on once fighting breaks out. So if you don't like the square you're in, just we can do that differently. But now you are standing there with your longbow.
Yeah.
Now moving, that's done. Getting the longbow out, that's a free action, right? You can use your whole action to just equip everything. You'll have everything in your backpack. You'll be fully equipped that you can use your action, or you can use your action to do something else.
Okay. Well, like my intention with the longbow is to try and like shoot the torturer when he when he tries to come to the
Okay,
bus.
great. All right. So yeah, you get ready. I would recommend then you do your action, just equip everything, right? That way you've got all of your weapons. You put on your weapon belt, and you are ready for a fight.
All right, I'll equip everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Good job. Okay. Next step is you.
Well, I'm thinking acrobatics, so maybe I might climb. I'm going to climb up over the cell. Can I do that?
Yes, you can. As I said, it's dexterity, but if you know acrobatics, you get to do those tricks to sort of, to sort of sky your way over. Now, this is just part of your move. So, yeah, you're stuck in the cell over here, but you'll be able to get out if you can certainly get out. So whether you get damaged in the process, please roll a d20, add your dexterity plus another 2 to add your acrobatics bonus.
13. So which one? So 13 plus. Which one am I? Oh, 13, 16.
Yeah, and then you'll see acrobatics got another 2 there. So you're totally that does the math for you.
Yeah. Oh, adding 8. 21.
Yeah, so what did you roll?
13.
You rolled a 13, you might have added twice. So you have 13, and then just add what it says next to acrobatics. Because acrobatics already adds 2 to your dexterity. Plus 5, yeah. So that's 13 plus 5 is an 18. Okay, looking 18. Up how hard this is. Yes, you managed to very gracefully get up and over those bars without taking any damage, but you can feel how sharp they are, and you are on your way. Where do you want to move to?
I think I'm going to move toward where the backpacks are.
That's right. So remember, there's always the move action. I'm going to put you there, for example. And you can use your action to just put on everything in your backpack and you're fully equipped. Do you have your manacles or are you blind?
No, I can see.
You can see, but you're okay, so keep that in mind. It'll be hard to fight until you get free, but at least you've got everything on in your backpack. Do you want to just equip yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Or you could use your action to free before you left. You could help somebody else out, but yeah, so you can only use one action. You can get your backpack on, or before you left the cell, you could have tried to free somebody else.
Yeah,
which would you rather do?
That.
You can rewind that.
Like, don't worry about us. It's totally fine.
There's a third not
I probably should.
What do you think? What you're gonna do? Get your backpack or help free somebody
I probably should help. Yeah.
Okay, pick somebody.
You both got your.
I'm good.
Yeah. Show your status there. Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to. I probably wouldn't. But yes,
hear a voice from the other cell saying, "There's a bloke standing next to you that's got your lockpicks."
That's true.
Wait, so yeah, I should free your manacles.
Mine?
Yeah, you've still got yours on, right?
Okay, go for it. Yeah, we'll make our decision quickly. Roll your d20, add your dexterity, and see if you can get those manacles open. 15, very good. Total, 18. So you free your manacles. And again, you've rolled a 15. You do it so well, you get to free the manacles of somebody else nearby. Who else is that?
Wait, so you...
I'm still
so I free yours.
Okay, all right. You've got your manacles free as well. Congratulations, good move. But you still end up next to your backpack.
Okay.
But you don't have anything else. You can get out one thing from your backpack. What's one item that you really like to have?
I will get out my short sword.
Very good. Next in line, what do you do?
Is anyone still manacled?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I will try that again.
Okay, so using your dexterity, you're going to try to get the manacles free.
12 and 2, so 14.
Very good. You succeed, and you are now free of manacles. Good job. You can move, though your only choice in moving is to go over those dangerous bars.
Yeah, I don't think I should.
Okay, next in line.
So I want to go near the dwarf, and in Dwarvish, I kind of want to.
Oh yeah, how do you get there? You're still in the cell, are you? Or
Can I
are
just
you?
be like, can I talk through the
Oh
cell?
sure, yes you can. Yes.
I just mean like get closer as possible.
Okay, good.
So
You
you
do.
can hear me. I kind of want to ask him, what is this red shard? Because I have one of those.
Yeah,
and
the
I want
red
to
mirror
say
fragment.
it in Dwarvish.
Ah,
I'm
you know
wondering, is he
Dwarvish,
speaking
yeah.
like this because he doesn't know Common very well, or is he mind?
Okay, very good.
I'm just curious. This is
Okay, yeah,
my
since
first
you kind of
language.
broached the subject here with what this one over here did, this you might get something out of him.
And I have
So-
a 3 intimidation.
Oh,
So,
good, yeah. So intimidation is based on charisma,
Yeah.
but this is again sort of leaning on someone like, it's in your interest to say so. So yeah, you're
So I
going
want
to do your
some
intimidation.
answers. Don't necessarily know what the question should be.
Right,
but
okay, no, that's
wanna know
fine.
what's going on.
Yeah, that's good. So roll a d20.
Yeah.
You've got your red shard. I'm going to give you a +1 on top of that because you've got the red shard on top. That's great. Maybe +2.
Oh, it's a 20.
Ooh, did you roll a natural 20?
Yeah,
Okay, this is great. I'd say that, again, we'll write this in your backstory.
Okay.
And remember this later on, because this might be good for bonuses. Yeah, your first natural 20. You must have experience in your backstory. Like, you maybe have read about this or done it, and you know through this is that the reason you can intimidate is like, only really bad people use these. You know that these red mirrors is like, it's got a bad reputation. Like, what are you doing dealing with this? Or you're working for bad people. That's your intimidation. Like you should feel bad about this. Is that kind of the tack you want to do? Like use your intimidation, like this is a sort of nasty organization. Okay, you do, and it actually has quite an effect on him. Like you think that if he's a proud member of it, he's like, I belong. I'm strong in the. He speaks in Dwarvish, and that's why I gave you I should give you another +1 for that. So he's speaking in Dwarvish, which you can translate, and he's still, like, he takes a breath, and every word is sort of got a deep breath in between. You're not sure why. You get across from him that he is now, he's a member of the Reds. Like, I am one of the Reds. We do great things with this. We get power. You can get power. You join us. It says, good. No such thing as good. Do what's powerful, forget what's good. So he's sort of making an argument for, like evil is basically disregarding life and liberty. It's like, get your objectives and don't regard life and liberty. But because your intimidation is so strong, you see there's a great doubt in his eyes. You can't see him very well, but he seems like he's trying to convince himself. His faith in this organization, he doesn't seem quite sincere. He seems like he's saying it out of duty. And he's sort of scared. He glances up against those brackets at the same time, like when he talks to you. So as he's talking to you, you get the idea that he's kind of repeating a party line that he doesn't entirely believe in. So that's something that, again, his thing might come with it. So now you know more about him, and somebody else might be able to leverage that. But yeah, you've definitely gotten through to him. Use this information to try to manipulate this dwarf. So good job. Okay. Now you can still move again, but I'm assuming you're not. What do you do?
I still cannot see. Can you guys see? Are you free?
No, I can't.
Yeah, everybody show your status. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see? Okay. Can I use my? How are the head things secured again?
So there's an iron ring that's
Yeah.
quite snapped around your neck, and the canvas is sort of like, is sort of pinched into the iron ring,
Okay.
and it's sort of a strong canvas stuff.
Okay,
Yes,
so you have
strong.
to be very strong to get that off.
Well, yeah, strong or just lucky enough to sort of find a weak spot, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'd add your strength bonus, but if you roll high, you'll definitely succeed. You're not the strongest one in the room, but you could also get kind of lucky.
Okay.
Better dexterity, so it might be better. to
Yep,
just
dexterity is what you can
do
use to
the
free
same
manacles.
thing.
So again, should put your hands up if you got your manacles together. Okay, so we got somebody in manacles over
Okay.
there.
Well, I might try and use my dexterity to get your manacles off then.
She's out
So-
of the jail cell.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's sort of over there. Okay, so yeah,
right.
she's not available.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
I climbed up over the
Yeah, doing it to yourself, you still have disadvantage doing it to yourself, so
Okay.
your chances of success are less.
Okay.
Can you see?
I can't see, no. So I feel quite limited.
Really? Somebody help this wizard over here.
I'm very smart, but I'm blind. Can I... So you can't see? I'm gonna try and use my dexterity to rip his head thing off.
Sure. Well, you'd be using your strength actually because
my strength that I have none of. So
yeah, but you might roll well. I think it's worth a try.
Okay, I'm gonna
Give it a
try
go.
that.
And remember, even if you fail, you'll definitely succeed next time.
Okay.
So
What
did you do last
They'll
time?
give you a shard. They'll give you a +1
Yeah,
to
so you
get
get
the
plus
helmet.
1 for the shard.
Oh yeah,
I
your
give you the
shard is a little
shard.
bit
Just got
sharp.
my
Yeah.
shard.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, just give it back.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So temporarily, you get the red mirror fragment. Okay.
It's up to me whether I give it back. I got it now.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I'm gonna give you a bonus on this roll. So now you're still using your strength to saw away, but now you've got something sharp in your hand.
So
you're
I
trying
have
to get
one.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
one, but I'll add more to it. Go ahead and roll. Okay, what I'm going to do now is introduce the idea of advantage. So you have a sharp object. All of you have been using things with something that's like a knife. You get to roll twice and take the higher of the two. This is the first time I introduced the idea of rolling with advantage, it's called. So roll again. If it's higher, you get to use that and get a second chance. What is it? So last turn that we went around, what did you try to do last time?
I think I tried to pull off someone's...
Oh, you tried to do the manacles then?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I failed miserably at that as well.
But remember that that if you fail at it once, the next time you're guaranteed to succeed.
Okay.
Does anybody here have their manacles still on?
I think I do, but I'm out
But you
here.
got
I'm
one.
outside.
You're over there. Let's say that you succeed at cutting this out. So I'm going to use that carried over. So you managed to cut that bag open, but you take 1 hit point of damage.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's got to be paid for somehow. Good job. Okay, so now you can see, and your hands are free, I believe.
They are.
Good. What do you do?
It says my flattery makes people I talk to feel wonderful and important. So I'm gonna try and convince the dwarf that he's an awesome guy and he should open the door for us.
Sure. Okay. Now this is good because these things are stacking on each other. The dwarf is convinced that some of you, actually, should be giving him orders. So he's been kind of softened up by all of your actions. So this is something that definitely can work. You're still going to use a skill. So what are you good at? Persuasion. Oh, +4. Yeah, your charisma is pretty good, and you've been trained to sweet talk people all of your life. Roll that. Ooh.
15.
Yeah, plus the other 4. That's more tn enough. All right. Okay, this you're keeping this dwarf busy. So what are you going to? You going to tell him to open the door? Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, as my lord, milady. What's your pronoun? Are you he or she? Oh, yes, my lord. He goes over and does that sort of combination thing and opens up the door. Now your door is open. Congratulations. Okay, you're in good shape. All right. It's my turn again. Now, things are getting closer, and I think you might have run out of time. What's everybody's status, by the way? Hold up your hands, your whatever else. You can't see, but your hands are free. You can't see, and your hands are bound. You can't see, and you can't see on this side. You're over there. You're over there. Okay. All right. So remember, now that you're all free, it's really we'll do this real quick. Okay. So I think there's one more round before things really get real. All right. Let's go around one more time. But you can almost see a couple kobolds start peeking around the corner. And as this happens, Kobold's like, in Kobold language, in Draconic, it's like, hey boss, they're out of their cells. Like, what? You hear this voice down there. So you hear his footsteps speed up. And the dwarf is like, no, it's okay. Orders, it's fine. He's calling. He's trying to make excuses for you. The goblin's not having any of it. So this is the very last round before you get attacked. So, most important things, what do you do?
Is there any locked doors I can pick locks?
No, it looks like they're all open,
done?
yeah.
Then I'll try.
Yeah, this trap door looks like it's got a mechanical lock. It doesn't have a keyhole, so I wouldn't bother with
I'll
that.
try and release someone.
Okay.
Well, all my weapons are equipped, but I'd really like need to use my weapons.
Sure. Yep.
So,
show off your
so
stats.
that's-
So as you're
but if you
deciding,
don't-
show off your stats and look at all of them.
We can all work together.
What do you want to do?
But I
Decide quick.
need my things
How's
to
that?
weapon.
Fighter could be useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll roll to
Tear the bag?
Tear
Okay,
the bag,
go ahead. Yep,
yes.
roll a strength check.
Come on.
Now remember, if you failed at something last time, you're guaranteed to succeed this time.
11 minus 1.
Okay, 10 is
So
just
10.
enough. You're now able to see. And we'll move your chip over here. You're number 0. I guess we'll move right over to where you are, because you're over here, aren't you? Okay, who's next?
That's me. So you're still manacled, right?
Can I put like this
So
chip
I'll
for
try and
me?
free you.
Oh yes, please bring it over here. Yeah. Thank you.
Actually, can I switch mine out as well?
Yeah, sure.
Cheers.
Yeah, we'll do more of this at the break and all that. Yeah, you are number
still on
9.
the
Yeah,
cell,
you're over
I
here.
think,
Yeah. Okay, great.
Cheers. So I'm going to free her manacles. I'll try to. 13, it's dexterity, right?
Yes.
13 plus 3, 16.
Very good. You're severe free. Good. Let's keep it moving. Get the momentum going, and you can move around as much as you like as well. You can start moving your own chips as well.
Yeah, I'm still blind, so I might move.
Yep,
over
you sort of
some
stumble your way
there.
towards it. Yeah, exactly.
Feel
Yep.
my way over.
Yeah.
And there's the small action. Can I grab something out of my
Yes,
pack?
you grab one thing out of your pack.
Okay, I'm going to grab my short sword.
Okay, very good. All right, next in line, what do you do?
Me, okay. So I'm still blind, but can I move?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can. Your friends will help you out by sort of telling you left, right, forward.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, where do you want to go?
I'll go to the backpacks.
Okay, great. All right, so take this number 8. Where are you? Number 8. Yeah, go and move yourself over to the backpacks. Now remember, it's only 1 square per person, so these squares might be important. Yep, you go over there and grab your backpack, and now you can use your action to just equip yourself,
Okay.
if you like, or you could use your action for something else. Look around. Anybody got problems?
I'm free.
Oh,
But,
you're
yeah,
okay.
but they've got their hoods
Okay,
on.
who wants to see?
Weapons, so it could be useful.
Okay, yeah.
Cheers.
Okay, great. So yeah, you try to tear. Did you say you have your weapon?
Yeah, I grabbed my short sword from the pack, from my
Okay.
pack.
Do you think that might be useful in this particular instance? Trying to get the bag open?
Cutting the bag, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have advantage on this. Now you get to roll.
Roll
You
again.
get to roll again because you're using the sword that he's got now. This is great.
Don't cut my nose off.
Is that a critical 0?
Yeah, so that, well, it will luckily take the higher of the 2, so the 5. It can work if you're willing to take a hit point of damage.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you lose a hit point and you manage to cut him and the bag off at the same time. Good job. What do you do next? Next in line.
Wait, each turn you get a move and an action, right?
Yes, you get to move and act.
Okay. My action will be I'm gonna grab some torches from my backpack.
Okay, great. Yeah, as a matter of fact, you can use your action to get everything from your backpack.
Okay.
And that would be a great way to go.
Is that getting a backpack? That's just an action, right?
Yeah, that'd be an action to get everything on. If you just want to get one thing, then they can get that for free and then take another action.
Okay. Can I move across the room and place the torches?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Great. So you're going to pick up your torch. You are 6, 7. You're number 7. Okay. Great. So we'll move you around. Yeah. You're over here. Where do you want to put the torches? A torch. Yeah. Torches. Yeah.
And I'll just put them at the entrance of the tunnel.
Okay. Well, you go over here. What do you do with the door?
Still blind.
I can't just go around it.
You grab.
Well, the door is shut.
You grab some stuff from the pack.
Okay, I try to. I have my lockpick.
Ah, you do, but the door is actually unlocked. This door is broken. This one looks over here. So, what was it? You or that gave the ghost the order to hold this?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you say like
Carry on. Yes.
let this one out? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
He's
backs up.
okay, yes.
Yeah. Guarding the door. Very good soldier. You come over here and leave some torches over there.
Yeah.
You can't move very far. So do you want? But you want to move more. You want to move away from the entrance, or do you want to like hide, or what?
Can I move back into the jail?
Yeah. Do you want to light the torch? Yeah. You can move back in jail, but only a little bit. You can go back
just
here.
a little bit.
Okay.
And then, because you already told it to open the door. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think that through.
Yes, sir. Well, you got the torch. You dropped it off, and I think that's good. You're in good position. I'd say using your action, you can light the torch and put it there if you want.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll
So
try.
a flaming torch is there. Okay. Very good.
Can I ask what's the status without party at the moment? Because I'm free and.
Vision. No
free.
vision.
Okay.
So we're both free and everyone else has got a hood on.
Nice trick. Yeah, you're able to do all this while blindfolded. It's pretty good. Okay. What do you do?
I'll try and take someone's hood off.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. So I guess I'll take your hood off. Or
Okay.
try and take your hood off.
Great.
So that's strength, right?
Yes. Strength.
Anybody weapons as well?
Oh my god! I keep rolling. So that's 6.
That's a 6. Wait. Yeah.
You've got your weapons in full gear on.
Oh yeah. So I've got weapons.
Okay, so
can
have
you
with advantage. You get to roll again, and if you roll high enough, you can do it without any chance of damage. Hey, very expertly done. Slices it open. You now can see. Good job.
And then I'll go like near the entrance-ish.
Okay, great. Number 6. Where do you want to
Like
stand?
not too close.
Yeah, that's what I would start mentioning. Yeah,
like
you're
enough
learning
to
what I'm about to
shoot.
tell you about, which is positioning is very important. If your enemies are coming in, the tougher ones, might want to be closer, and the more delicate ones might want to be further away. You're doing that already. Do you want to be right by the door?
So like the good position to use like a ranged weapon as
Okay, good.
through the door.
Yeah. I'd say close, where you can still deal with things coming through if you need to, but you're in good position to shoot right down that hallway if you need to.
Sick.
Number 6 is done. What are you next?
Well, I'm just thinking because I still got my manacles on. And hang on, who's still got their
Manacles or the hood on?
Everybody show your
hood on.
status. Show your status.
Danielle has a hood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Danielle's
Wait.
fully.
Yep, got the hood on, yep.
She's got the hood on.
And
So you've got a hood on, you've
so
got
I'll
a
be
hood on.
Does she have
manacles?
Oh, you're like that too? This is your status? Or are you like
I'm
this?
pretending to be Danielle.
Okay. Sure.
I'm pretty sure she's got the manacles on as well.
What do you want to
I
do?
think she does.
Unfortunate day.
We got to decide quick. We're running out of time.
I could use. Hang on. I've pulled out my short sword. So
Good.
could I sort of use that and then go, and I can take off?
Try to get the bag?
Yeah,
Off?
take the bag off.
Yes, go ahead. Roll to see if you get the bag off. Roll your d20.
12.
Very good.
Plus
Expertly done. So the
15.
one, oh great. Oh, 15. So this one has the bag removed, and somebody else can have the bag removed. Somebody, this person, for example. Sounds good?
I'm done.
Oh, you're
I'm
done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I give it to him.
Right, you do so well.
Then
that
everyone
his
in our
bag is the
party
one
is
removed.
not
His
like-
bag. Oh, is he an enemy of some sort? Did he do you wrong?
I'm just trying to see.
You look hesitant.
No, we're not enemies.
No, that's right. You're in any case, you're unified by this danger. Okay, good. So your bag is off as well. Congratulations. Next in line.
I tried
And also,
last
you can move.
time.
You can move in 2 different positions, by the way.
okay.
So remember that. I might not mention it, but please do.
Yeah, because I'm still over here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Do you want to stand any place in particular? Where are you? You're a rogue. Yeah, you're a little delicate, but also you're good at stabby.
You have a sword.
I
Yeah.
have a sword, so I could stab.
Yep.
Move it towards the door.
You want to move somewhere?
I'll move towards or outside the door.
Yeah, just outside, like all the way here, or a little bit
No,
further
just
back.
out here.
Okay, out here. Okay, great. Oh, outside the store. I get it.
Outside.
Okay, good. Yeah, you advance a little bit. Next in line. What you gonna do?
I tried last
This is
time
your
to
last
free
round,
the
definitely.
manacles from Danielle and failed.
Okay,
I'm
yes. So
like
you're gonna succeed.
guaranteed
Yeah.
to
So
succeed.
yeah. So roll, because if you got 15, you might be able to do something extra. But
15.
hey, great.
Um,
Anybody else have manacles on?
Actually 17.
Okay. Everybody's all free? Okay, that's great. So you get that, but also, let's say, is there some other action that you want to do? I'll give you free
If I
action.
can, I'd love to go and get my stuff from my bag.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah, so you equip yourself in your bag. This urgency is definitely helping. You are number 4. I'll put that on you. Where is that 4? Oh, I had it over here. Yeah, this is a fake 4. Okay, great. You've got your stuff in the bag. Good job, wizard or cleric. I can't see. Wizard. Okay, yes. So in the back is not bad to be when you're a wizard. You're next.
I'm gonna go and get my stuff.
Yep.
Equip and then get a little bit closer to the front of the door.
Okay, that's great. Now
So
you're
I
over
have
here
a
somewhere.
few
Yeah.
hit points. Don't want to
Okay.
be extremely close because I don't want to die first.
Yeah, because you're moving all the way across the room to do that. You
Also
probably
want
can't bounce in
heal.
2 different areas. So
Maybe like
that's
hide behind the trapdoor. I'm small.
okay. All right. Yeah. So
I
yeah,
was a
you're-
block. Never mind. If it's a floor, then I'll stay away from it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's about as far as you can go if you're
Got
going
it.
to go all the way over there. Good. Okay, last few seconds before you get attacked. What's it going to be?
I'd like to go and get my backpack, please.
Yes, very good.
Oh, and you're like, you're
you-
ripped your
yeah, you-
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, you've
Thank
learned
you,
that.
everyone. I'm also very happily getting my backpack.
Very good. And where do you want to be in the room?
And I would like to go around here, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, wizard, a little delicate, so maybe a little out of the way is a
Yeah.
good thing. Okay. All right. All right. Last before
I'll go
bad
get
things
my
happen.
I'll go get my stuff
Yep.
and I'll go towards the front of the door.
Oh yeah. All
Front
right.
of the room.
Sure. Okay. So you've been stuck here the whole time, yeah?
I think so. Yeah.
Roll a quick athletics check to see if you can hustle and get yourself further in position. Ooh, 19 plus your athletic. You go break into a
24.
sprint. You go over there, grab your stuff, and you manage to and you want to get up to the front?
Yeah, why not?
All right. You can be sort of toe to toe with this with your.
Wolf guy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, the dwarves like that gives you sort of nod. Like, all right. because you've convinced him successfully. Somebody convinced him, like, oh, enemies are coming. Your orders are to fight them off. It's like, oh, let's do this, kind of a gesture. Very good. All right. Now, as I forecast, this is where your enemy engages you. We'll do this. I'll paint a scene. We'll take a little break while we get ready for combat. All right, well done, everybody. So just to recap, we're all learning here. Those are all skill checks. It's all about skills, D20s, and it all depend on your sheet. So you've all gotten the hang of it, and you notice cleverness really helps. Like, you get those little +1s and advantages by doing that stuff. It's always good to sort of come up with that stuff. I might say no, but as often as possible, I say yes. Okay. The goblin arrives, dragging Thogrim. She is, let's just say, she shows signs of torture. It's a nasty sight, and she sort of gets cast aside and basically passes out over here. When the goblin comes in, he comes in this way. One of the first things he wants to do, and kobolds, I'll distribute them, come swarming in around him. And the first thing is like, you're going to pay for getting out of jail. I'm going to torture you, and I'm going to kill a few of you until you talk. So he comes in, he tries to push that door open. But you've got the dwarf holding it shut. You also have somebody new who's come into place. Are you going to choose to try to hold the door shut?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to do a strength contest. And the good thing is that I'll roll for the dwarf, and you roll for you, and the higher of the two of you is going to go against my roll as the goblin. So let's see how this turns out, because you might be able to bottle him up. You roll. I'm going to roll here. Ooh, natural 20. This dwarf has been waiting to do this. He's like, finally, I fight. And so he says fight. He sort of grabs his weapon, but he sort of winces when he grabs for his weapon. I do part. And so he holds the door shut, and he does very well. I'm going to now roll for the goblin. No, very high. Ooh, but thanks to the dwarf, that was good. And you help out a little bit as well. Okay. So pushes it, and the dwarf is like, not today, says the dwarf, and is unable to go through. He is unable to go through. He's, of course, suitably angry. He gives orders to all the kobolds. It's like, okay, 2 of you by me, the other one start shooting. We'll get this door open soon. Get through the bars, shoot, whatever else. So the kobolds all start to swarm into the room. They have slings, right, which they can throw from a distance. They have knives, they can stab you, and they kind of swarm in great numbers. I will distribute that during the break, but they'll kind of generally be sort of stuck back here because you've sealed up the door. Very good tactics. Once this happens, we'll do the first round of combat and all that, but we'll get to that in a moment. They will go first. As you take your break, think tactically. The thing we're going to teach in this combat is where you position yourself on the battlefield is one of the most important things. And you'll notice that if you're behind somebody, you're less likely to be shot at. So if you want to take damage, if you've got a high armor class and high hit points, you want to take damage. If you're not so much, you want to avoid damage, maybe get some cover and get some distance. So think about that. You can start looking through your skills. You don't have to master all the skills on your sheets, but to the degree that you might have some ideas of spells or skills or whatever else, suggest something to me and I'll happily explain it as we go. During the break, though, I'm not going to talk very much because I need my brain. And I need to do some stuff to math. Take a break. Use the store, buy stuff there. It would be very nice. If you want to donate now and get a chip, or just donate because you want to support our non-profit organization, feel free. I do take credit card taps or cash. Remember that if you give $5, you get a chip. You get multiple chips for multiples of 5. If you give 20, you can get a big fat D20 and a pack of character sheets as well. They can take away, and that again all helps us out. So come back here in 5 minutes. I'll see you soon.
I have these.
I'll trade. I'll drop something.
Okay, we're all back from the break, and we're back into combat. So, welcome. I'm just showing the slides once in a while, those of you who are on video. All these things on patreon.com you can see, and if you watch the video yourself, the little hashtag at the bottom is I give away my materials for free. So you can be a DM, or other people out here, you can be a DM for absolute beginners. I give away these materials if you're a patron, and I support those materials and improve them all the time. So the hashtags are different modules that you can sort of copy and paste into your own script. That's what that's about. This is what's called set piece combat, which I'll describe. And I'll do that now. So combat is where this is like crunchy by the book combat. So D&D, like I say, is many games in one. Sometimes it's quite loose, and you can sort of interpret the skills, maybe a bit loosey-goosey with what spells and skills do. When it comes to combat, it's much more like a war game, and it's real life or death. To make it a challenge, the rules get a bit tighter. so it acts more like a board game or a war game. Some people, this is their favorite part, some people not so much, but like I said, you can learn for yourself whether combat is your thing or more sort of loose action is your thing. But we'll all give it a go and see what you like. So where your position is on the board is going to start being important, and this turn that we're taking. So the goblin boss is that purple droplet that I've got, and thanks to your good tactics, wanted to come into the room to get into a good position, but is unable to, is stuck on the other side of a door. He spent his time commanding and intimidating the kobolds into doing a couple things. The kobolds are the letters here, and they're all kind of on this side of the cage for the same reason. They're all stuck through. So you see there's 10 kobolds all around him. He commanded 2 of them to get over here, stay right here. And you just see the kobolds just kind of shivering a little bit and getting close and looking reluctant. The kobolds are staying away from the torch, by the way. So you notice that when the kobolds get next to the torch, hot, and so they move away. So the torch is kind of also making it a little bit difficult for them to move around. The kobolds that are sort of up against the wall, they're starting to climb the bars because they're little, so they don't need much of a gap to go through. They've got their daggers in their teeth, or their scimitars, which are almost dagger-like in their teeth. They're starting to climb. The ones sort of along the back here, they're starting to whirl those slings above their heads. They can pelt you with rocks. The goblin boss here, you can see a picture of here. Right, so I already showed you that one before. But he's actually a little bit better armored than pictured. So he has extraordinarily good armor. Here he's mostly showing a lot of skin here. Let me break this up. But this goblin boss does have a wicked-looking morning star as a weapon that can thump. It seems to have some javelins and stuff slung across his back that he might be able to attack from a distance. But the morning star seems to be a big threat. But where he's covered quite a bit of metal all over him. So you'll have to take into that account as you discover how do you defeat someone like this. It's my turn. His turn was just ordering the kobolds into position and trying to open the door. So that was him. These kobolds are going to go next. Before I start, I'll talk about, each combat, each of these, especially the first 7 sessions, I want to get you experience. I layer on different things. This combat is just the most basic thing, which is position and knowing your role. It's called a role-playing game for a reason. Your role is kind of 3 different parts. If you have a high armor class and high hit points, your clerics are like that, and your fighters are like that, you're often called a tank role, right? Which means that you can kind of get in the front line. Your job is, you can do damage, don't worry, but your main job is actually absorbing damage and getting the attention of the enemies, because you can handle the damage the most. Clerics can heal themselves, the fighters can do a bit of healing of themselves as well. The cleric, however, also can cross over to a second role, which is a healer, right? So, not to take so many chances because you can cast spells that give hit points to other people, or they weaken the enemies or strengthen your friends. So you're often a bit of a leader of the group, and you sort of empower the rest of the group. So staying alive is a little bit more important because you might be the one that saves the party when people start going down. The other ones are often called strikers, like a rogue and a mage. They do high damage. They do the most damage of anybody with their spells or with their sneak attack bonus, which rogues do. But they're actually fairly delicate. You can tell your armor class isn't very high and you don't have many hit points. So you want to hit without being hit, and that's why you count on the tanks to absorb that stuff. Position is often, monsters that are quite simple like this, they'll kind of go for whoever's closest or looking the most intimidating. So, if you want things to attack you, try to call that out. Like, I want to be attacked. So you're gonna look like enough of a kind of come over here kind of gesture, and the kobolds might do that. So here they're disorganized enough that they're just going to kind of fire at random targets as they come in, and all of you are in danger, but you might learn the position and all that stuff matters as we go. Anything else I need to do? No. Okay. So I'm going to go through alphabetically. So this kobold over here has got his sling out, and he is randomly picking this one over here. Who is number 1? It's you, at the door. So he's going to be firing over through the bars, but the bars don't really cause any difficulty. But what does cause difficulty is there's another kobold in the way. Thanks to the torch being here, he's kind of gotten into a bad position. And it means that you have a higher armor class. You have what's called cover. So now you see, if you're behind somebody else, you're a little harder to hit, right? So having physical objects kind of make you harder to hit. So your armor class is too higher than it normally would be, which is already pretty damn high. So as I do this, now instead of rolling on the table, I use a computer. You don't have to use a computer for D&D, but it just means I don't have to lug around a lot of books, and my combat can go a bit quicker because it does the math for me. But I take the rolls honestly. 99% of the time I take the rolls honestly. When I cheat, it's usually in your favor. Okay, so I'm going to roll with this. You don't know how good they are to sling. I'm just going to tell you what the results are. Well, the kobold's roll is a 17. Now 17 normally would hit you, but thanks to this other kobold being in the way, he had to sort of tilt his shot, and zings, like clips your ear, and this rock is going fast. It would have hurt you pretty badly, but it does not hit you. That was Kobold A. He can reposition himself as he likes, but I think he's going to pretty much stay there. Kobold B, this is the one close to the goblin here. He's going to move over here and try to stab at the ghost. Obviously, this is a ghostly. I'm going to call it the dwarf, but I gave away the fact it's a ghost. That's fine. So so first of all, the goblin boss is sort of like, "Let me through, Torg." Now you know the dwarf's name. The dwarf's name is Torg. "Let me through, Torg." It's like, "Not today." As Torg's holding it shut, and the goblin says, "You stab him." It's like, "What? Stab Torg?" It's like, "Yeah, stab Torg." It's like, okay. So this kobold tries to stab Torg. With a 22, managed to get in a very high roll, and a piece gets torn out of Torg, but it's sort of like this weird sort of floating plasma sort of comes out of his body, and like his armor sort of disappears a little bit. So he does some damage to Torg. I'm going to roll damage. You'll roll your own damage. 4 points of damage to Torg. And Torg is like, he looks at the kobold, and the kobold just goes completely pale, just shakes like, "He told me to do it." We'll see what happens there. Remind me of that, because I'm not used to Torg taking a turn. That was B. This one over here, C, is going to try to climb the fence, and I'll do this openly. Okay, with a 12, he takes some damage as he goes over. He's not very dexterous, so I'm going to flip him over, which just means that I'll turn him upside down. It's probably a bit easier. It means that he's taken a little bit of damage, which means that he's going to be easier to take out. But he comes over here, and he starts running towards, I think, towards you over here. So 1, 2, 3. Usually you count out these squares a little bit at a time, but he runs over here. He isn't able to attack. If you run too far, you can run further if you decide not to attack. He gets up into your face for you, right? So he's brandishing his knife, but he does not do anything because he had to get over that fence and get around the gate that you had closed. Very good. This one is going to go for you. So where are you over here? You're the pink one over there. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, luckily you being in the back makes it inconvenient. So he's going to try to shoot at you, I think. He uses his sling, but you see, again, cover. He's firing through your friendly ghost. He's firing through this other helpful friend over here. So you have got a +2 to your AC as I do this sling. Again, you see the advantage of distance and cover.
Am I able to use Shield React to boost AC by 5?
Ah, yes, you're a wizard. Very good. So first I'll tell you that you get to, I rolled an 8. And if you think that's a threat, because I'm going to add something at 8, I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's a bit of a gamble. If you think that I'm going to add enough to get to your AC is only 12, well, your AC is actually 14 thanks to your friends.
And you've rolled an 8?
I've rolled an 8. I'm going to add something to it. Now, if you use your shield, you can only cast 2 of these, basically 3 of these spells all day. So it's a pretty important spell.
3 of any of them? Or 3 of each of them?
No, are you doing magic missile or shield? You're doing shield?
I was looking at shield.
Yes, shield, yeah. So, yes, of any of them. Yeah, you can cast 3 shield, 3 magic missiles, any combination, yeah.
Alright, but
only 3 spells total. Of your big spells that say you can only cast these a certain number of days.
It with the 8.
Yeah, chance with the 8. Okay, so I'm going to take the 8. When I add that on, I come up with a total that is less than your AC because of your friend. It avoids your friends. Your friends have saved you.
Thank you.
And you didn't have to spend a spell. You took a chance and it paid off. You saved your magic and managed to not get hit after all. Very good. Okay, that was let's go with E is over here. Going to try to climb over the fence. Oh, it takes quite a bit of damage. Again, gets damaged here, E does. And is going to try to move over, heading towards you. You're number 5. Again, runs over here, bleeding a little bit, but is up in your face, but is unable to attack because of the distance that you have. All right, F is over here. Yep. So F, I think is going to try to strike over at you because you're sort of the nearest target. No, I think he's going to sort of randomly pick. So the goblin is sort of giving irrational orders. So I think F is going to go. D is going to go for you, number 6. We'll just do an initial one. Where are you on the board?
I'm behind him.
Oh yeah, you're right over here. Okay, right. So F is going to try to climb over. Okay, does pretty well. Takes no damage. Jumps down and tries to stab you with a dagger. I roll an 8 compared to your AC is higher than 8. What is your AC?
14.
Oh, not close. when I roll this low, imagine yourself sort of dodging out of the way. It doesn't even scratch your armor, but slash with, it's actually, a dagger slashing at you. You manage to evade any damage there. That was that one. F is over here. Wait, what did we just do? That was E? Yep. F is going to go over for you. You're number 7. And where is F? I'm a little blind. Oh, yeah, F. Did I already do F? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, I did F over here. All right, G is trying to climb the fence and going to go for you. Ooh, very good. Managed to get over, and you are number 7. Where are you on the board? You're over here. Yeah, okay. So that's a pretty close distance. Moves around here, right next to number 6 here, right? So ideal for a target, but tries to slash at you, number 7. As a cleric, you're pretty well armored. Let's see how it works. Dagger with a 14. What's your AC?
18.
Ah, yeah, you've got thick armor and you've got a shield. An actual physical shield, not a magical shield. So yeah, you're able to, it hits you, but does not penetrate your armor. Good job, okay. And that was G. H is over here. H is going to go for you. You're number 8. Where are you? Yeah, you're all the way over here. So H is going to try to shoot at you, but you don't really have anybody blocking you. So H is able to get a pretty clear shot at you. It goes far, but this sling goes very fast. So unobstructed, let's see if the sling hits you. Oh, with an 18. What is your AC there, Rogue?
14.
14. You get damage. So I roll some dice here. My total is 4. You lose 4 hit points all at once. Subtract that. Okay, that was H. I is going to go for you, number 9. Where are you on the board, number 9? Yeah, you're way in the back. Okay, again, nice clean shot, right? I decided that I was going to climb. I was already climbing, so I'll do that. I've got 2 dice going on. Oh, very well. But again, because of all the huff and puff, is just going to move over towards you. Let's move this here. Runs over here, sort of blocks your way and threatens you, but is unable to swing at you. But definitely getting amongst it. And then lastly, J is going to try to climb over and go for you. Where are you, Zeros?
I think I'm all the way at the back.
You're all the way at the back, okay. A 19 does very well and comes through here, but this way is kind of blocked by your friends. As I go through, right? So who is number 4? You. Oh, you're delicate. So you can choose to get the kobold to attack you instead of attacking the rogue.
I'm sorry, I'm a squishy.
That's right. So it goes right by you. You're like, nope, I'm not going to take this on. Comes over, but it's unable to attack you. So comes over and threatens you, but is not going to attack. And that is all of the kobolds. Only a little bit of damage, and largely it's because of good positioning that you did. But now the kobolds are going to find their best targets, so keep that stuff in mind. That's the kobold's turn. Lastly, I get to do the ghost. The ghost turns to this kobold, and his eyes glow. He again reaches for his weapon, and he sort of winces when he reaches his weapon again, and then he's like sticks his hand out onto the face of the kobold. And this is a special attack, which I don't get to use very much, but I roll dice just like anything else. Is a 25 because I roll a natural 20.
Oh my god.
So he grabs the face of the kobold. The kobold just turns into a skeleton before your eyes. It's like a dead and buried body, like 1, 2, 3, 5 until 10 years later, it's like this withered corpse that just kind of falls in this sort of pile of putrid flesh. And he looks, anybody else, he says. And like all the kobolds like, don't stab Torg. It's like, no, now you are going to stab Torg. This time you're going to get him. It's like the kobolds are really looking uncertain about this. But this one is off the board. Good job. 1 kobold down. And that is my turn. Now, your turn. This time I'm going to go clockwise. We're going to start with people who come from the survivalist end of life, up from the mountains and stuff. So normally you'd all roll dice to figure out who moves, but with a group this big, it's easier to go clockwise. So you are first, and start thinking about your move as you go. As you look, you're mainly going to look in the middle of your sheet here. Your weapons. So if you use a different kind of whatever kind of weapon you have in your hand, you pick one weapon or the other. And that's the number that you roll on your die. That's going to be against the armor class, the AC of whoever you're targeting. Like the goblin boss, the goblin, or the kobold, or Torg. If you want to attack Torg, that would be fun. Please do that. Also, you have other things that you could do. You could do passive stuff. If you really don't believe in fighting, you can always, if you have melee, you can knock someone out. If you're reducing to 0, you can knock them unconscious instead of killing them. Also, you have different spells and things might be listed here. Usually softer skills like persuasion and stuff, once fighting starts, it's very hard to successfully use that. I usually give you a chance before fighting starts that, hey, do you want, instead of fighting, do you want to immediately start trying to talk your way out of this? You can avoid a combat entirely, but this was thrust upon you, so I didn't give you that option. What do you do?
So can I whack the, what is it, goblin?
You certainly can. So yeah, exactly. The bars of the gate do allow that, and yeah, you're just able to, these bars are far enough through that you can go through the slot, and you just can swing your axe at the goblin. So roll your d20. 12 is a good roll. Now add what's next to the axe you got there. Right, exactly. So again, just you all the same thing next to your weapon. That's a combination of his strength, right? An axe uses strength, plus proficiency, because he's proficient with an axe. That's where the 5 comes from. These numbers are all logical when you think about it. So you swing the axe. 12 plus 5, 17. I'm going to convert the AC of the kobold. That's enough to hit the kobold, because the kobold is, the goblin. So I'm going to do it to the goblin boss. The goblin boss, as you swing towards it, the goblin boss does something surprising. This kobold that was next to him has been sort of shivering. He grabs the kobold, picks him up, and moves him towards you, and uses it as a meat shield.
He's not really very pleasant, is he?
No. So one of them died. The only remaining one, he picks up you as and redirects your attacks. It's quite rare for monsters to do, but goblin bosses are great at this sort of thing, using their minions. So this is saying you don't know if it would have hit him. It was a good shot, but it certainly hits the kobold. The kobold sort of wriggling around, doesn't have any armor, and you chop the kobold in half. It's just completely we reduce it to 0. You can knock the kobold out, or you can kill the kobold. So you slaughter that kobold, and get all the kobolds like that. And this boss is like, more, Nick, get over here. You get over here. So it's like ordering the other kobolds to get next to him. But it's not their turn. It's your turn. What do you do? Oh, and you can move as part of your turn. So before or after your action, you can move. So keep that in mind.
Not want to stay where I am.
Righto.
Okay, I want to do a spell. So am I able to do my magic missile at the goblin?
Yes, you can. And again, I like to reveal these things a bit at a time, but I'll give you a hint. That's a really good idea for reasons that I'll expose. Now, you're doing one of your 3 spells you can cast a day, but hey, look, you don't want to die with spells in your pocket. So magic missile, you are able to cast this only because you have your stuff. By the way, if you're around, if you have any problems, if your hands are bound or if you can't see, you can use your action to solve your problem. You might not be able to attack this turn, but that's just a problem. Or you can try to deal with your impediment however it is. So please be honest and remind me of your impediment as you go. But you're totally free, I believe.
Yep.
And you were able to get your stuff?
Yep.
Okay. You do need, maybe not magic missile, but many spells require like a little pinch of something. Okay, you were able to cast magic missile. You are number 2 over there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The amazing thing about magic missile is that it ignores cover, so these bolts come flying out of your hand. Do you want all 3 bolts to hit the goblin? You have to decide now. You can spread them out to hit multiple targets.
No.
Yeah, stack it onto the goblin boss. They weave around your friends. They weave around the kobolds. The other thing is they weave into the gaps of his armor, or they go right through his armor. Magic missile ignores armor class, which, as you might have figured out with these goblins, he's very well armored. Very good choice. Is guaranteed to hit, so all you do is roll damage, and you get to roll 3 funny-looking dice. So let me give you some funny-looking dice. This is called a D4. It gives you random values from 1 to 4. The weird thing here, this one, you just see at the top of the pyramid is the number. So you see you've rolled a 3, there you've rolled a 4.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah. And each time you roll it, you add 1 to it. And this is the damage. I'll write down the damage as we go. So roll it once. 4. Okay, start off with 5. Okay, good. Now another bolt hits him. It's like
2.
2. All right, that's fine.
Yep.
And last bolt.
4.
Woo! All right. So bam, bam, bam. He gets knocked back, and he looks surprised. It's like casting magic missile is a powerful spell, and he probably has never encountered it before. And he raises his shield or something, and kind of like sails right through his shield and hits him and tears him up good. Let's see how much it does. A lot of damage, but he has hit points just like you do. It does not kill him, but it does damage him. I'm going to write down. Now I'm tracking fair and square all the damage that this person takes. Wow. Okay. This is strong enough that actually pieces of his armor start flying off. Like you're well into his hit point total as that, so you've spent that spell. Now, what you can start doing with your spells, there's actually a way to track the spells you cast, but you don't have to do that right now. We'll just kind of just try to loosely remember how many spells you cast. I'll show you next time how to keep track of your limited spell slots. Okay. Good job, wizard. This is what I mean about being a striker. Yeah. Delicate asthma can really pile on the damage when they spend a spell slot. You can reposition yourself on the battlefield, otherwise we'll move on.
I'll stay there.
What do you do?
Well, no one's like below half hit points at the moment, or is someone like
me?
Oh, really? Well, what's your hit point? How much hit points do you have?
Out of
Oh,
9.
okay, then where are you on the map?
Oh, good. That's what
Yeah,
cards
I'll go
do.
cure
That's
her.
good, thank you.
8.
Yeah, you remember
Okay, so I'll run back.
Oh, good,
I don't know how
yes.
far I can go.
Yep, you have to touch them in order to cast the
And
spell.
I'll
Mhm.
cast Cure Wounds.
Very
-1.
good. So, against a
very
limited
cool.
spell slot, so there's
Yeah,
a few
so
times you can do
I
today.
can only cast this twice,
Okay.
so don't lose it.
Now you get to roll a d8. This is an 8-sided die, and you get to add something to it over
Plus
yet.
6 hit points.
Huge thing. Like, this is a very powerful healing spell.
7 plus 6, so 13 hit points.
Holy cow! All right, so you don't go above your maximum, but you feel great. Like you feel holy power. You call on the divine, and you have to decide. So what you really, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you are suffused with this powerful divine power, and you are completely well. Yeah. Do you have anything wrong with you, by the way? Are you bound?
My eyes.
Your bag ripped. I'm just gonna put this on for color. You overhealed so much that, like, boom! It's like your bag explodes off your head as your halo sort of appears. It rips the bag open, so you're free as a bonus for rolling so well. Very good. Now that's your action to cast a spell, so you can't attack as well. But that's great. This is what a cleric should do. And you position yourself. I think you're done. Next.
I might as well do magic missiles as well. against
Okay.
Our goblin.
Yes, okay. Oh, you're going to spend your special spells, but hey, this is working very well. Go for Magic Missile. Yes, indeed.
I'll need the D4.
Yes, please pass that over. Oh, I don't have heaps of them, but I will give you another one because it's always fun to have a D4. Okay, start rolling.
2.
Okay, 2 plus 1 is 3. Yep.
4.
4 plus another 1 is 5. Yep.
And then 2.
1 is another 2. Yeah, so 3, 5, and 2. Holy cow! 7, 8. Yes, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more hit points. Okay, now you've torn open his armor. He's starting to bleed quite heavily. Like now, like his skin's exposed, and he is just completely flummoxed. He reaches, by the way, as the magic missile came towards, he reaches for where a kobold should be, but you already took out the one kobold that he had. So even though you didn't hit the boss, you were part of this first success, definitely also part of the second success, because he's trying to get cover. There's no cover to be found. He's been ripped up quite a bit, but he's still hanging on to life because this is one tough guy. But yeah, you're really making good inroads. You can position yourself somewhere if you like.
Can I use my movement to gain cover from behind player?
You certainly can. To go and move yourself, you can reach. Yeah, so you can move pretty much anywhere in the room. We won't be too exact on movement yet. Yes, yeah. So that makes you less of a target. You're less likely to be hit. All right, very good. Next.
I'm thinking this man's a bit of a sneaky guy. He's a little bit sneaky, so I think he might. I'm going to say he's going to make a mad dash.
Okay, great.
And what's the purple one again?
The purple one over here is a goblin.
Oh, the goblin. And
Yeah.
he's going to dash past the
Okay,
goblin.
yeah. So if somebody can reach number 5, if you can reach number 5, move number 5 over, and you can go over here and stab at him through the bars.
Oh, stabby, stabby.
Stabby, stabby. Very good. Okay. Now, before you roll, I'm going to tell you something. One of the great things here is that if you're a rogue, what makes you a striker? It looks like your damage is sort of ordinary, but you have a special trick called a sneak attack damage.
Oh, yeah.
If you stab somebody, if you successfully stab somebody, that's the next trick. If you successfully stab somebody while they are next to a friend of yours, so you have one friend here, and Torg is another friend. If you hit, you do a boatload of damage because you manage to sort of like I said in the introduction, you get to the vital organs, right? So hopefully you'll hit, but this guy's heavily armored. So hope for the best.
Okay.
Take your d20. Do you know what you add to it? In the middle next to your short sword is what you're going to add to
so
it.
yeah, where it's got +5. So
Very good. So you're going to roll this +5 and hope for the best.
20.
Not 20.
Oh! Fantastic!
It actually hit that and then...
Yeah, very good. Holy cow. Oh, man. That is amazing. So, you're going to roll extra damage. So, next to your short sword, there's another number that says damage to the right of where your short sword is.
It's like D6 plus 3.
Okay.
piercing.
D6 plus 3. So, the 6-sider comes from the fact that it's a dagger. 3 is a dexterity bonus. So again, the math makes sense. You're going to roll this and add your dexterity bonus. So roll this, but without rolling a 20, you still get to roll this twice. Once for the normal damage and once for sneak attack damage. But when you do a crit, when you do a 20, you roll everything twice as much. Roll this 4 times.
Nice.
And you'll add your dexterity bonus once. So roll this 4 times and add 3 to the total. Go for it. This should be fun. Take that on, and let's cheer for high numbers. Okay, 2. Okay, return that over. After 4, I'll add the last thing. 4. 1. 3, not bad. Cock die. No, always got to re-roll cock die. This is your advantage. 1. Oh, well. And it'll add another 3 because you're very dexterous. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points of damage. Some of the biggest damage yet. Good job. So you go over and just jam it in there and stab it to him. This is great. All right. Wait, I've got to look something up here. Okay, fantastic. So, good news is as you stab and pull it out, just his guts just start spilling out. You have done a killing blow. I mean, there's no denying with this many magic missiles and this much of a stab, this is such a massive damage that's able to put him over the edge. But at the end, as he collapses to his knees, he says to Torg, sort of like this chant. It's a language that I don't think any of you know, but he says this series of words. And as he does so, Torg's like, no, no. It's like a command is being given as he's sort of sinking down. And once he finishes the string of words in this really ugly, weird language that none of you understand, Torg's eyes glow red, and he seems to go into a frenzy. He turns around to you, he pulls out his weapons, and he says, I'm so sorry. And he starts lunging towards you. Seems like in his dying blow, he's done something to sort of put Torg into battle mode. Now, remember, if you think Torg is worth saving, Torg looks like with great regret, his hands are shaking as he does this. If you think Torg is worth saving, you want to be able to get him some damage that doesn't kill him, only knocks him out. Or maybe it does other things, maybe put him to sleep or other things that happen. Then once he comes back, you might be able to reason with him. Right now you can't reason with him, so your choice, if you use spells and arrows, there's no way to just knock him out. It's always lethal damage. But if somebody goes up there and uses swords or daggers, what you're doing is you can imagine you're hitting with the hilt of the sword or the hilt of the dagger instead. So this is actually an interesting choice, and I don't often do this, but you've done so well. You've created such an unusual battle plan that I'm going to introduce the first group vote. Now, you're not stopping the battle and all getting around and talking this out, but you've known each other for a few days. So whenever I do a group vote, I'm saying in this instant, you're sort of deciding what would the group want to do. So this debate that you're having doesn't happen actually in real time. You're kind of imagining what your friends do. We're going to go with the majority vote. You are a team. So if you lose this vote, I still ask you to go with whatever the majority did. You're deciding okay, not my first choice, but we're going to unify between the two goals. Your two goals are kill Torg, right? Take no chances. You'll be able to get this done faster because you won't have to pull your punches and you can use all the spells you want. Or knock out Torg. You might need to use some powerful spells to do so, like sleep. You might need to limit yourself to melee attacks, which not all of you can do or aren't very good at. And you still have to reduce him to 0, or at least lower him enough that it kind of kicks him out of this weird battle mode that he's going into. It'll be harder. He might do more damage to you. He might be more threatening because this battle might be harder to do. Which do you do? Now, again, you're not debating here on the battle floor, but still have a 1-minute discussion, and everybody have their own little bit about which way you would vote. Let's save Torg, only by knocking him out, or no, let's kill Torg as efficiently as possible. Discuss.
I just want to quickly say, 1, it's a ghost. So if we friend it, we have a ghost. We saw what he did to that. And secondly, if on your turn, you don't have to do this, but we have Bane, and if you get near him, that means that all of his attacks will be less. And so then that's just less of a threat to us.
Interesting.
It's an option we can do. If we want to keep him alive, he'll be less threatening.
Also,
interesting.
There were buttons around the trapdoor that he knows how to operate, like opening doors and things like that.
Very
So
good.
if we kill him, then we could be trapped in here for a while.
Well, we could use investigation to figure out how to use that.
But it's going to be a lot easier if we've got him as a friend. We can do it for us.
The only problem is, obviously, there's a whole turn before we can sleep.
Oh yes, you're going to be using a lot of magical power. Remember all the spells you're thinking?
What we can do though is just everything is going to get a turn before we can do that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
There's going to be a lot of fighting from now on.
Whoever hasn't spoken yet, chip in your bit.
He held the door shut, so I reckon we should.
He's a good
guy. Seems like an alright bloke.
Okay, who else hasn't said anything that wants to put in their opinion?
But he could do a lot of damage to people before we can put him to sleep because there's only there isn't any magic people.
And I'm
left.
standing next to him.
It'll be less damage. It's a negative 1d4 on all his rolls.
Okay, okay, good
And you
tactics.
have that.
Anybody not spoken that wants to put in their opinion one way or the other before we vote? Okay, anybody want to say, you want to pre-indicate what your vote is and want to try and influence? So everybody's, before the final vote, which way are you leaning? Just show everybody which way you're leaning. If you want to argue against somebody. Okay. Okay, put your hands down again.
Yeah.
Now on 3 you're going to vote for serious. On 3 you must choose thumbs up to save Torg, thumbs down to kill Torg, and try not to look at other people's votes. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's fine. Keep it there. Keep it there. It's fine. Now, this is very important. It's great to have diversity, so it's okay to be in the minority. You can say "I told you so" later on if this goes badly, right?
I will.
And I'm going to be also, and also some of these things might start affecting your alignment, like something like the way that you vote. You know, the deities are sort of looking at your actions, and based on this, you might say like, oh, you know, so you get to speak in the minority. Why do you think you'll end up saying "I told you so"? What was your reason for voting no? Because this is your "I told you so" moment if this goes bad. What do you think?
Look, I just don't believe in showing mercy to anyone. There was no real strategy behind it.
Good, okay.
That's all I have to say.
Evil on your alignment.
That's right. Oh, your alignment is very much open. Yeah, you can act any way you like. I love that. I love that. It's great to play act for a character. What is your reason for voting no?
I have to think.
For the greater good, I don't think he should stay alive because it seems like he's switching sides really often and really easy to persuade.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, good point. We'll see if that becomes a factor. All right. However, I do ask the two of you to say, okay, get on board the team, all right? Well, you'll do your best to fulfill the team's goal, which is to knock him out. So remember, only if you're doing a hand weapon attack, or there might be spells that, also, make him less of a threat or might take him down entirely. If you want to spend those important spell slots, because you got an adventuring day ahead of you. Let's keep on going. Where did I stop? Who was the one that... Oh, yes.
Me.
Okay,
So
that was your turn.
I've got my great sword, so can I try and hit him over the head with it? Oh,
Yes, that's right. No, you're done. Yeah, unless you want to move.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm
You've done enough, I think. The goblin boss, by the way, is dead, so we'll sort of take him off so he's not there, but he collapses down, of course. It's only Torg that's turned into the enemy. Yes, go ahead.
So I can use my great sword to
Yes,
try and
exactly. So you still want to reduce. You'll still do damage like anything else, but if he goes to 0, it means you have the option to knock him out.
Okay.
If it's
So
your one
yeah,
that
I'll
does
do
it.
that.
Okay, you are number 6, and you're close to him. All right, you can move. You have to step close enough. You have to be next to someone.
Yeah.
Go and swing your great sword.
Is that rolling? 8.
Okay, an 8, and what do you add to it? It's in the middle there. What's your total?
So attack bonus?
Mhm, yep, attack
so 4.
Yeah, so check, is that right? I think 4 makes sense, yeah. Is there 4 next to Great
Yeah,
Sword?
that's-
Yep,
Yeah.
okay, very good. So what is your total again?
12.
Okay, so what is the armor class of a ghost?
Yeah.
He has heavy armor on, so if this were real armor, it would be a problem. But he is a ghost. It slices through, even though he's sort of solidified himself, he's still not entirely solid. And it's weird, it's almost like cutting through, sort of like putty. It goes into him, and but you're not cutting him, of course, you're thumping him really hard, and it's his armor dense. You've reduced his hit points. What is the amount of damage you do? That's what you roll next to that.
So it says 2d6 plus
2d6, so take that 6, roll 2 of those, and then add whatever else. Again, each of these weapons has different combinations of dice that
okay.
get used. You get to roll 2d6, so it's a nice sort of predictable, more
3.
predictable amount of damage. Plus, yeah.
And 2.
Okay, 3 and 2 is 5, and there's also something else you have. The total is plus something. So
Plus
2d6
2.
plus 2. So we'll do that. Okay, 7 points of damage. Let me see. I'm not used to people attacking this. Let's check this out. Does he have resistances? Because some things like, oh, you actually can't attack that way. Nope. All right. He takes it. So yeah, his armor gets dented, and he sort of gets knocked back, and again he just gets this kind of confused, sort of pained look. It's like, must kill. So but he does seem very conflicted as he does so. It just seems like something's animating him. He's got this tragic look on his face. You've made some good inroads, and it's now your turn.
I think I'll use my spell of Bane.
Okay, yes, this was mentioned before, and this is great. Cast as soon as possible, so good inspiration.
Yeah.
Bane is a spell that makes his attacks less likely to work, so like the opposite of bless. What does it literally say next to Bane? I haven't looked at it.
Negative D4 on rolls.
Yeah, great.
3
Yes,
foes.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, I don't have that here. Right, so what I'm going to do is every time he rolls, I'm going to subtract a D4. So you see, that has a pretty big effect. So I'll put that out there. Do remind me, because I tend to forget this sort of thing. All right, so it takes a whole action to do so, and remember, you've cast one of your spells, and you're on your honor to remember which big spells you've cast. Just make little dots. Next session, I'll tell you how to track that properly. You use your religion, you might decide on who your deity is, what kind of deity you worship, but you basically, it's a curse from your deity, and just sees almost like a dark cloud sort of settle, on him, and he sort of looks up, and he looks even more mournful, is like, no, I must, he's sort of like arguing with the god, as the god is sort of cursing him for what he does. Next is, I need to reposition yourself, if you like.
Yeah. Which one's the ghost? Is it the dark blue?
Yes, the dark blue with the eye, yes.
Can I move between the ghost and the blue?
No, afraid not. No, this is the way combat works, yeah.
Okay.
You can only get next to, not in between.
I'll move closer to the ghost.
Okay.
Just on the right side of the blue.
Yeah.
Anywhere around there.
All right, yep, over here, maybe there?
Yeah.
Okay, great, yeah, stepping in. But what you can do is say, like, I want to be hit. So when I'm choosing who the ghost attacks, remind me of that, because you might be able to draw fire off of the person you're trying to protect. You're next.
I think I'll go for the other monsters.
Yeah, these kobolds are still the kobolds are looking uncertain, but they're still looking like they're going to attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just under orders. You don't know what motivates them, but they're panicking right now.
So can I use my bow for that one, or am I too far
Yes.
away?
The bow goes very far. Yes, you can. Yes, you're number 8 over there. Yeah, so you'll just need to move. You can move aside a little bit so you're not shooting through number 3. So just step over one step. Yep, that way there's no cover, as I explained before. You get to shoot over at this one. Yep, go for it. Is that the one you want to target? That kobold.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Roll your d20. Add your short bow bonus.
10.
Just a 10 is not enough. The kobold sees it going and jumps out of the way. Unfortunately, the arrow shatters on the wall behind it. What do? You position yourself. Go.
You position yourself?
Yeah. You can keep moving if you like. Do you want to move any further than you already did? Because you can move a little bit, attack, and keep moving. So.
I'll just move back.
Okay, yeah, get a little more cover. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you're very squishy. That's very much a rogue trick. Get out of cover, shoot, and then go back again. There you go.
Behind the person just healed you.
That's okay. It's important for the tanks to get in the way. That's fine.
So did you lose some hit points?
No.
Behind me. I'm the tank. It's fine. I'm gonna be running towards it.
a little bit of shade is like, so are you not at full hit points? Go ahead.
So I've got my short sword in my hand, and there's a kobold right there between me and another rogue, and so I thought I'll stab him.
Yes, okay, great. So you try to stab at that kobold. You know what to do, I think?
And if I hit, I get sneak attack because it's next to an ally.
Very good, yes. You'll do extra damage if you do.
19 plus 5.
Oh, yes, very much enough. Yeah,
you
you stab the kobold. Now you get to roll sneak attack damage. So I'll give you a d6. I've got plenty of those. What does it say next to your short sword? D6
plus 3.
Yep. So now, because of sneak attack, you roll an extra d6. Roll that twice plus 3. 6 plus.
Come on, be good.
5. Yeah. 11 plus 3. 14 points of damage. You completely obliterate this kobold. You can paint whatever picture you like, but remove that chip from the board because it is gone.
Gone, baby. And then you
can knock out the kobold if you want to, I think. You've decided to go for it. Okay.
Whatever.
The kobold, by the way, all these things happen to kobolds, like all this repeated sort of damage and attacks and all this. The kobolds are looking quite uncertain right now. Like they're all like, I don't know if this is really going so well. I mean, what's going on? Well, but we got orders, the goblins, they're still going to kill us. Like, I don't know, I'd rather die under the goblins than die here. They're starting to really debate whether they should be hanging around.
No, this is my vengeance for the one that's
attacked
Torg.
Exactly, yeah, that attack is what's gotten them talking. Your bloody attack has made them really start to get scared. And you can position yourselves.
Also, I've only got my short sword in my hand. Can I use my bonus action to grab up my short bow?
Yes, you can grab your short bow is fine. It's an item interaction, it's called. It's not even a bonus action, it's just something that you get for free.
Sweet. And then I think...
And you can change your position.
I'm going to move over here, just away from... Because there's another kobold right there, right?
Yes.
I think, so just get away from him.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And usually moving right next to an enemy, they get a free shot at you, but you're kind of moving through friends, and you're able to stay away from the kobold. We'll get to that later on. Good job. What do you do?
I can't tell what's a kobold?
Sorry, they're the letters here. So there's kobold, 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 kobold. These things, these are wounded. The upside down ones are wounded. Yeah, all the letters are kobolds. Numbers are friends. Letters are kobolds.
Alright, I might do a very similar move and attack the kobold at the door to try and keep us all a bit safe.
Very good. Okay, so you can move yourself next to the kobold where that is. So yeah, we're all getting into. Yeah, you can pull that towards you. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Yes, you got a clear shot of that kobold. Whack. Go ahead and roll.
I don't know how to tell if that's a 6 or a 9.
That's a 6. Yeah, the dots are like a period after the end of the number.
Okay, got it.
Add all of your stuff.
So the sword is +5, so 11.
11 is not quite enough. They're quite light on their feet, and their AC is a little bit higher than that, so you do not get the kobold. It's my turn at last. All right. Well. Yeah, no, the kobolds, they still feel like they're under orders to go. But they're all going to go for the most logical things. Those kind of go through from just from the left to right. All right, this one is like, I don't know, I've got to try. So it comes running over here. This one comes over here and tries to stab you. They just kind of go now after the most logical thing. But you're a tank. You're supposed to be here for this sort of thing. So the kobold stabs with his dagger. However, he is next to a friend. He has something called pack tactics. When he's striking somebody as a friend next to him, he doesn't do extra damage like a rogue, but he's more likely to hit. So I get to roll twice and take the higher of the two. And I've gotten a 23, which is higher than your AC, I believe. So you get stabbed a bit. That dagger goes into you, tank, for 6 points of damage. 6.
Oh, that's gnarly.
All right, that's that first kobold there. Let's cross over to this one over here. This is the letter there, yeah. All right. Yeah, so this one, whose buddy was there, I think they're going to spread the love around a little bit. I think they're going to go after number 7. Who's number 7? 6, 7. Oh, wait, you're a cleric. You can handle it. So you're going to go after it for a bit. I'm going to say you can pull off. That dagger comes at you for a 12 against your AC. Oh, not enough. It scratches your armor, but does not do it. But I get to roll twice because of pack tactics. 12 wasn't.
Does the D4 work in this scenario?
Ah, yes, very good. So I'll get the higher of the two. You're very. No, sorry, it's only the ghost that's been banned. This is a kobold that's doing it. But do remind me of that with the ghost turn.
Does anyone take it off the damage that the tank took?
It's only, I think it's when I used it.
Yeah, so
Doesn't
the Bane lasts.
Nearby?
What?
Bane says 3 nearby.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Okay.
Been, like, a
Let's
bunch
do
of
that.
kobolds.
Very good. Okay.
Kobolds.
Yep. So Bane makes it less likely to hit, which I think would have hit anyway, but does it reduce damage? What does Bane say? I haven't looked it up here.
Negative D4 on rolls.
Yeah, on rolls. Okay. So, do you remember the number that I rolled against you when he stabbed me?
3.
No, it's 23.
23 minus 3 is still a 20, which unfortunately is still high enough to hit you. But we will use Bane on this one. So this one came at with a 12. I also rolled an 8, which isn't any better. Minus. So yeah, 12 minus 2 is only a 10 against you. Yeah, very good. Thank you for reminding me about Bane. I forget that all the time. That was F. All right, great. That's all taken care of. This one, G over here. Sort of looks around. Anybody on this side you want to draw damage? Otherwise, he's.
Yeah, I can take some.
Okay, good for you. You're number 6. Yeah, so you can get over here and lure the kobold over, and it's going to come stabbing at you. This is what a tank is supposed to do. Good job. This one is probably not under Bane. Let's say that this one and the ghost are all Bane. With a 10, does it have a friend next to it? No. So see, this guy does not have a friend next to you, so the pack tactics aren't helped. It's only right next to you. So remember, clumps of kobolds are very dangerous. Not enough, so I only roll once, and a 10 is probably not enough to hit you.
14. I have
No, all right. You are able to step out of the way and just get it brushed by you. Very good.
It's armor class. It's like defensive.
Yes, armor class is like sort of how hard you are to hit, both by dodging or just having tough
And does
stuff around
the
you.
armor class never changes?
No, you can buy new armor. You can get better at dexterity, so your armor class goes up as your character progresses. All right, so this one over here. I'm going to run over this way. I think it wants to attack you because you're the tank. Unless somebody else says, does anyone want to draw fire away from this one? He's heading towards this one. Any volunteers?
Oh, well.
Right, okay, close by. So you're what, number 7? All right, yeah, all right. So he comes over this way instead. He comes around and attacks you. Good job, cleric, taking on some extra damage. Stabbing at you is a 19, which I believe is enough to get you. You take 4 points of damage, cleric. All right, now a few over here. These are so far away, they're going to have to go over you in the back line because, you don't want to miss out on the fun. So let's go ahead. Oh, who's in front? Who's number 4? Okay, well, that's fine. You come over there. This one comes over. This one also comes over. They sort of hold off and sort of fake you out, so they're going to both attack you.
Does the shield last the entire duration of the round?
Oh, wait, you're not a cleric. So they start heading towards you. I'm not a little colorblind, so I thought you were pink. As you start running over, is there a friend that wants to draw the fire instead anyway? Well, you're another wizard.
I'm certainly not going to.
I do it?
Yeah, you're a little far away. You're a little far. With a 3, I'll split it, okay? So 1 is going to come for you. So you managed to pull 1 off. And because they're split, this one doesn't get pack tactics anymore. You split the kobolds up. But we'll do the first shot against you with a dagger against you, wizard. With a 16, I believe will hit you.
Yeah, it's going to hit.
All right. You take 4 points of damage.
I'm actually going to use my shield.
This time you're going to use your shield. Okay, yeah, because usually I didn't give you a chance. Yes. You use your shield. You burn a spell slot.
Yes.
And that raises your AC.
So it's now 17.
17, which is more than 16. Very good. Okay. So you burn a spell slot to protect yourself. This other one, thanks to you, comes over towards you this time with a dagger, stabs you with a 9. Oh no! You kind of back up from the cage, like his little arm can't quite go through. You back up just enough in time. Good job. And was any kobolds haven't moved yet? I think that's all of you. Oh, thank you for that. You are the 0. Oh yeah, the 1. Yeah, I think that's gonna have to go for you because you're right over there.
I just attacked it.
Yeah, you just attacked it. I don't think you're gonna get a choice on this one. With a 17, I'm afraid that's high enough to get you. You take 3 points of damage. Okay, that was me, and now it is Torg. Now I said Torg has got Bane. I said somebody could draw, so he looks like must fight. So he is going to swing at somebody, but I'm going to randomly choose. But somebody else can save. What are the targets? Number 6 is the candidate. Number 1 and number 5. Ooh, and number 7. I'm just going to go all the way 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to randomly count on which one he goes. Counting around there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5.
I'm number 5.
And you're number 5. He turns towards you. Now, anybody else next to him can say like, "Nah, I want to try to draw him off anyway because it's a little bit aggro." But it's going once, going twice.
I'm really dead.
Yeah, that's right. Swings.
Useless.
Swings at you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to use my dodge.
Oh no! So dodge is.
Instead of attacking.
Yeah, that's right. So you can, instead of attacking, you can make things give disadvantage. But remember the Bane that we're going to do here, okay? So let's roll the Bane first. Okay, I'm going to subtract 2 from what he does thanks to the Bane. He rolled a 16, minus 2 is 14. What's your AC?
14.
Just enough. Oh, the Bane had just been 1 point higher. It would have saved you. His Morning Star sweeps through you. It doesn't impact you like a solid Morning Star, but as it cuts through, you just feel horribly cold, and your skin just like breaks out in these horrible sort of scabs and rashes like rotting flesh.
Nice. Very nice.
I'm just going to have to roll this the way that it is.
I mean, you had a great roll with the sneak attack.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's great.
That's right. You take 16 points of damage. You must go down. But you're not dead. With one horrible blow, this thing like slashes through, your eyes roll in the back of your head, and you just like look like half a corpse, stiffen, and fall over. You will start taking death saving throws. You have a chance to die if your friends don't help you. I think your friends do want to help you. There's 2 things that can save you. I'm so glad to be able to teach what death saving throws are like in a combat. So when it's your turn,
I can only do it one more time.
you're unconscious.
You are dead.
On your turn, all you can do is roll a d20. If you roll low, you slip closer to death. If you roll high, you slip closer to basically kind of a coma sort of stability. But if anyone heals you, even 1 point of healing from a potion or a good berry or a spell will bring you back. Yeah?
Okay.
Or if somebody can't or doesn't want to do that, anybody can do a wisdom check if you know medicine, as the clerics do, you get to add your medicine bonus to your wisdom check, and if they just get a 10, they do what's called stabilize you. You'll still be unconscious, but you're no longer slipping closer to death. You're just basically established fact. So use a spell, use a potion, use a good berry, or just stabilize and deal with that problem later. It's your decision.
Yeah, we damage yours.
But again, as he does, he goes like, I'm so sorry. It's like he just looks horrified with himself as he does that. But you are deciding to try to knock him out. Let's do our best because we're running out of time both in the session and who knows how much, there's a lot of commotion down the hallway, but hopefully you'll be able to take care of this problem with one more round. Go for it.
I'm going to whack the dwarf.
Okay, you're going to try and whack the dwarf. Roll your attack the usual way. Oh, not enough. Well, let's add that on. Let's see. Now, what do you get to add? You get to add a +5. No, a 10 is not enough. Okay, so, yeah, you try and hit him with the butt. Does not work. What do you do?
I've been standing in the corner thinking, I told you so. And my second thought is, I wish I was in the temple right now. So, can I try and put a group to sleep?
Yes, you have a spell called Sleep. It's one of your powerful spells.
Yep.
It does a couple things. So yeah, it affects everybody a 20-foot radius, and each of these is 5 feet. I'm sorry, it's an American thing. So from a point, like an intersection, you can count 4 squares in every direction. So it's like a circle that big.
Okay.
So everything in that, everything, including friends, they have the chance of falling asleep. And I'll describe that later.
It says group of foes.
Foes, yeah. Well, I said foes because I'm just making clear, but it does actually affect everybody. I probably shouldn't have written down foes. You're right. That was my mistake. It will affect your friends too.
Oh, will it?
Yeah, it will affect your friends, but only puts them to sleep. In which case, and they could be awakened.
Well, them's already unconscious.
You can just use an act. You can wake someone up by slapping them a little bit, and then they'll wake up. So anything will snap them out of the sleep. It's not a permanent state. They're not sleep. You don't have to kiss them or anything like that. So it's just a little bit of a slap away from them.
Okay, so I am not quite in the radius, but I can move forward a little bit.
Yeah, so you can make that circle appear anywhere in the room. So it doesn't have to be 20 feet around you. It's 20 feet around any point that you can see or they can choose.
So put dwarf to sleep.
Yeah, you can. So what it does, it puts weak enemies to sleep first.
Yep.
The more hit points they have, the less likely they are to go to sleep. I'll explain as I go. And at first level, I'll say you just have some idea that it'll knock out the kobolds before it knocks out the dwarf. There's less chance of knocking out the dwarf, but there's a chance.
Okay. I'll try for the kobolds.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So you're gonna go for like the biggest group of kobolds.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So you're just gonna put this whole big clump to sleep, right?
I think
so boom, this blossoming of things. First of all, any players in here, or is anybody an elf in here?
I'm nowhere near it.
Okay.
I know.
All right.
I gotcha.
But I would have been protected because I can't be slept.
Ah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You don't sleep.
That's right. Elves don't sleep.
You're on guard duty.
That's
just
cool.
Meditating.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So yeah, all this attacking that you're doing to him, he's being sort of gooey, so he's not taking as much damage as usual. So yeah, let's give magic a try. So sleep may do it, but at least we'll take out the kobolds. What you do is you're going to roll. I think I have something here. Sleep. Yeah, 5d8s. So we'll get out this dot. Well, I'll give you one. Give you one of your own. Okay, so roll that 5 times. This is how many hit points worth of sleep you're sort of generating.
8.
8. Okay, keep going.
3. 3. 5.
Good. One more.
4.
Okay, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 plus 8 is 23. So that's 23 hit points worth of sleep that you generate, starting with the weakest ones first. Kobolds have 7 hit points each. So you start generating all that in this big sort of clump. Here are 1, 2, yeah, so 3 kobolds fall asleep. It does not affect the ghost, and you can sort of tell that, first of all, it absorbed all that. There's a little bit left over, because that's 21 hit points worth. You've taken out 3 kobolds. Very good job. And you can tell as your magic attaches, ghosts can't be put to sleep because it turns out they're undead. They have these weird sort of immunities, and things don't work on them, so he doesn't have a consciousness really, so nothing put to sleep. But it doesn't matter. Taking out 3 kobolds was a great idea, and you've done that. Okay, next is you.
Okay, so I've got a bit of a question.
Yeah.
So with like if I was to run, there's a lot of kobolds in my way.
Yeah.
So how would you what would be like the limitations I have in this scenario?
Yeah, that's right. So as you run past this kobold, it could take a free swing at you if it chooses to.
Would these two, if I was able to get rid of this one and use the rest of my attack to get closer?
Yes, you could. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to use my hand axe.
Ah, you can throw it
at
at distance.
them.
Yeah.
Kill it, and then run.
Okay, good. Roll
So
next to your hand axe. Roll that d20.
Okay, is that a d20?
Yep.
That's where it is. Yeah,
Yep. So yeah, it's always the d20.
1d6 plus 4. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, that's the damage.
Oh, okay, good point.
Yeah, right on. So d20 plus
18.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, you add something to it. Let's do the math anyway, but next to your hand axe is a plus.
Plus 4?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
So your total
so
would be
22,
which you know is enough to get it.
Yeah.
Now roll your damage against the kobold. See if you can take it at one
plus
shot.
2 slashing.
Awesome. Okay.
So
Yeah, that
dice.
one's not wounded, is it? Might not turn these around.
What does 2 slashing mean?
It's just the type of damage. We won't worry about that. Ooh.
It's a 1.
1. Oh, so you wound this kobold.
Like, really tiny, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, that's right. No. You just, your aim isn't quite there. Like, it sort of cuts his or her shoulder really badly, but you are not able to take it out. But you tried.
Okay.
Gonna run past anyway?
Okay, if I could, I don't know.
Yeah, you can. You can run past. All right, it takes a free swing at you. It's like, hey, fuck you! So it swings its dagger at you as you go by. With an 11 is not enough, so it clashes off your armor as you go by.
And how far can I get?
I'd say you can get into the action if you want to get in the middle here.
Because I want to. Who's down again? Is it number 5?
Number 5, okay. Yeah, you aren't able to do anything, but now
Well,
you're
if
right
I
there
can next
on
time.
hand. Okay, very good. Your turn.
Is a Ray of Frost a single target?
Yes.
And a skill check, would that be in place of an attack?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will cast
I know you will.
Ray of Frost at the kobold in front of me.
At the kobold. Okay, all right. Oh, not knocking out the ghost. All right, that's fine. Take out the kobold.
That thing's gonna kill me.
There are a lot of people between him and his next turn, so one of us could kill him if you want to go for the ghost.
As long as I can trust someone's gonna do that. 'Cause I have no shield.
Ah, sure.
Rogues.
Yeah.
Damage from sneak attack if you're next to someone.
It's your decision. What do you want to do?
Because that's all rogues up near the ghost, right?
And we do extra damage if you're standing next to an
Alright,
enemy.
I will move up and stand next to the rogues to give them as many rogues getting sneak bonus as possible.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's right. So you sort of, the ghost is kind of congested over here, so I'm not sure you can do that. Yeah, this ghost is surrounded. So
With the group hug, we can
you can't stand next to the ghost because the ghost is already surrounded. What's your next
I
choice?
don't need to stand next to the ghost.
It's like the sneak attack is standing next to the enemy.
Yeah. So the sneak attack mostly happens if you're standing next to the enemy. You're
what I'm saying
unable
is,
to.
if you're standing next to that guy, when you come around to the next person with the rogue, they can do extra damage to that person if he's standing next to you.
Yeah, this puts me really close.
You know, mate.
Alright, well I'll just move next.
Yeah, you can stand next to this kobold. It makes the kobold. It makes it a little easier to kill the kobold.
Is there only one kobold there?
Yes.
Okay.
Just the one.
And then I'll Ray of Frost the ghost.
Okay, very good. As you come in, you try to Ray of Frost the ghost. Roll a d20. I think it says what your spell attack bonus is there already. It's based on your intelligence and proficiency.
Yeah, perfect.
Ray of Frost plus 5 to hit. Yeah, so next to Ray of Frost.
Oh, yep.
So this is a d20. Do your plus 5 against the armor class of the ghost.
Plus 5 will bring that to 21.
Woo! All right. Your Ray of Frost, it comes like a beam from your palm, and you weave between your friends. It's a little harder to hit because he's got some cover, but it's still plenty to hit him. And it seems to do. All right. If I'm looking up his various things, it's cold damage. It hits him. He absorbs it. He is immune to cold damage, it turns out. We're learning all about ghosts. Oh, ghosts have all kinds of tricky stuff. But remember these things. This is all knowledge built D&D. It's like, right, okay, you can't put them to sleep, and you can't use cold against them. Ah, nice possession. All right. Very good exploration. Getting more information about enemies is still a good thing. We have somebody who's dying who hasn't been stabilized or healed yet, so you don't add anything. Just roll a d20, and you don't get to add anything to it. It's pure luck. 4. So, in the middle here, you have death saves in the middle, and you have 3 little circles. One says failures. Just put a little check mark in failures. Because
we have that.
That's on the third
Is that on the
Never-
second
oh,
page?
that's
or-
on the third page. Just don't worry. Remember you have one failure, right?
Okay.
And every time it comes around that d20, it's rolling less than 10 as a failure. If it comes around to her, him, what's your pronoun? Him, I think you said?
Him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Once it comes around to him again, if he rolls a 1, he dies, because that counts as 2 failures automatically. But if it keeps going around and he fails 3 times, he is dead. So stabilize or heal your buddy, because there's more people on the battlefield. So you slip a little closer to death. You're getting closer to seeing the deities, and it's now your turn.
Alright, I'll try and knock old mate out again.
Good, okay, yeah. So you're going for that. You're right next to them.
6
Ooh,
plus 4.
Plus
so
4.
10.
Not enough. No, it thumps into his ghostly armor, gets absorbed. What do you do?
Should I try and heal you, or
Sure, that would be great. Yeah, bring this one back to
What
life.
spells have you got?
I will use my wisdom of medicine. to
Yes, you
try
can
and
stabilize them and not cast a spell, but at least
stabilize.
stops them from dying.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So yeah, you're able to go over what are your number 5. Where
We're next to each other.
okay, great. Yep, go for it. So you're gonna roll a wisdom check, but you get to add your medicine bonus to this.
So 5 plus whatever this is. So 9 total.
Oh, a 9 total? Are you sure? What do you roll?
4.
A 4. Oh, okay, yeah. 4 plus your wisdom plus 2 is 9. You sort of do some CPR. It's not enough to stop this one from slipping closer to death. Unfortunately, not. What do you do now? Stakes are high. This ghost isn't gone down yet.
We also need to keep out the kobolds.
How many kobolds?
I think there's like 4.
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna try to go for the kobold. Sure, go for it. Great. I see you over here. Yep. Where are you? Number 8. Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. Oh, the dice are really starting to decide against you. I feel this battle is getting a little threatening. Oh, these rolls are not doing so well. It's getting more dire. You are unable to hit the kobold. You fire your arrow and it sails over it. It's coming down to you before it's the monster's turn. What are you going to do?
You're looking pretty wounded on 4 hit points. Who's over here? Who's these two? It's you
And me.
and you. How
I only got
hurt are
4
you
hit
looking?
points.
4 hit points? How many?
7.
7.
Oh, now, those of you who are fighters, you have something I'll point out. It's a bonus action you can do. It's called Second Wind. And that's what, on your turn, you can actually do that in addition to an action. You can give yourself hit points, but it has to be on your turn. So
Instead
something.
of doing that, I attacked the dwarf because of you guys.
So let's do it retroactively, because I should have explained this before. It's a bonus action. It's very rare to have this at level 1. So let's retroactively, you can give, so who's a fighter that I didn't mention this to, that you want to give yourself hit points? I can retroact this. Who else is a fighter with second wind?
I've got plenty of hit points.
Okay.
No, I deliberately ignored it to hit the dwarf.
You can do both. Yeah, so bonus actions is a new thing that I was going to introduce next time, but this is very applicable here. You can have both an action, and there's a small number of things you can do with a bonus action. So you can do that if you like. So while you roll a d10, you give yourself some hit points. And you'll do, and you've done this as well as hit the dwarf. You gave yourself 9 hit points. You give yourself 9 hit points. You did that and hit the dwarf at the same
plus
time.
1.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Yes. Make it 10.
Back
Yep.
to 12 anyway.
Good. Okay.
I missed the dwarf.
All right. Where were we at?
So you're on what hit points again?
7.
7. Okay, so you're the most wounded now. So I'm going to shoot my short bow at this kobold here.
Okay.
Just to protect you.
Thanks.
Good.
Oh, that'd be a sneak
Sorry,
attack.
wizard, you can die.
That'd be a sneak attack,
8
though, right? Because
plus
he's
It might be.
5.
hiding in
Yeah.
the shadows.
6 plus 5. Yeah. Well, no. Hide the shed. There's a hide that he can do, but you gotta take an action to hide at this level. So it's good for a
13.
first attack, but during the fight he can't both hide and attack the same turn. What?
13 total.
13 is enough.
Hey.
Do your damage against the kobold.
So,
and which is the kobold next to a friend? Which
Yep.
kobold you go?
So
Okay.
sneak attack again.
Yeah, you roll 2d6s. Oh, 1 plus.
Come on. Hey.
Good. 6
So
plus
6
another thing.
plus
That's
3.
enough to kill the kobold. So take that off. Give me that 1. Oh, the kobolds are definitely panicking now. So,
Doors clear
last
now.
turn. What's the last thing we do before I decide what's going to happen next? Because we're getting to the very pointy end of this battle.
If I use an arrow at the ghost,
That would kill him. There's no way
It
to
would
knock
kill
someone
him,
out with
that's
an
not-
arrow.
okay,
Yep.
so I'll
Gotta
have
get up
to-
close and personal or use something else.
nah, he's pretty surrounded. I
Oh,
might
that's true.
try and knock out one of the other
Okay.
little guys.
Yep, you can try and take out the kobold with an arrow. Yeah, you can kill.
Can I heal?
You can
Do I
do
have
the wisdom save.
Oh yeah, so you can do that stabilization. So it's a wisdom check to try to stabilize this one over here.
It's our last chance before the enemy
Yeah,
attack
last chance
again.
before the enemies go.
Yeah, alright. Let's
Okay, yeah, wisdom's not your
0.
strong suit. That's I guess a plus here, but you only need to get a 10. So are you next to each other already? That's fine. Yeah, so move yourself over. Very good. Okay, coming over. Jaws of life. Here we go. Come on.
What do I need to get?
Need to get a 10.
Together.
Roll a 10 or higher.
Rogues United.
Hey! Fantastic. Well, see, if you rolled a 20, you would get 1 hit point back. I think at this climactic moment, you actually do such a good job that you come back. You actually are awake with 1 hit point. You're alive instead. You're alive again.
Rogues United.
Good job, team. Okay, so we're at the point and we're almost out of time, but this is what I planned anyway. At this point, the kobolds start to flee. They've been killed. The ones that they take down don't stay down, and the goblin boss is dead. The kobolds start to flee. Here's one critical question, just a quick feel. Do you slaughter the kobolds as they run away and get free shots of them, or are you going to sort of like let them go as a way to maybe try to, you know, maybe you can get them back on side, or something less than a slaughter might be useful in the future, but they also just might be regrouping and coming back, and killing them is the best thing you do.
They're
What do you
running, and we've already got 3 asleep as well, so if we want to interrogate anyone, we can wake them up.
I see them as insects.
So on 3, you're going to do save them, like let them go peaceably, you know, with a warning or whatever else. This is kill. Okay, so we'll do a vote on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, kill the kobold. They try to run away.
I was kind of
But keep the ones that are asleep. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
do you want to keep them to interrogate or kill them
I
anyway?
want to question them. See,
Okay, yeah.
you know,
Because
how
they
they're
want
acting.
to interrogate.
Sleep ones.
Okay, so the 2 sleeping ones you keep there. Yeah.
3.
So yeah, 3 sleeping ones saved. Okay. Wow. All right. Very good. Okay. As you do, then with Torg, at this point, Torg just kind of crumbles, like having knocked you down. You know, he just had this sort of tragic look in his face, and once he sees you come over and sort of like save this one, he's like, "Oh, thank goodness, you know, thank the gods." He collapses down. He like holds your hand. His eyes stop glowing red, and he's like, "I'm so sorry. I never wanted to do this." And there's a whole lot to learn about Torg. You have like split Torg's ego wide open. He's gone through a lot this turn, more than any group has done so far. And I'm going to figure out what are the consequences of Torg, but he goes out of battle mode with this sort of act of extreme violence, followed by this act of sort of sacrifice and mercy. It seems to finally get through to him. He goes back to his old self where he's very reluctant to keep fighting, but he's just a shivering puddle on the floor. And he says a name. He says, "Eberk, Eberk, Eberk. Where are you seeing this, Eberk? What have I become? Where did you go?" So he's now blubbering and crying about Eberk.
How do you spell that?
E-B-E-R-K. Okay. We are at 9 o'clock. I'll do some quick XP if you have to go to catch a train. I'll just do one more thing, but if you want to stay around for a few extra minutes, you get to vote on what the focus is next time if you come back. The most important thing to say is you get to come back, of course. This group is large. It does tend to get smaller, so they say, "Oh, I liked it, but man, it takes forever to get to my turn." Within 3 or 4 sessions, you know, people move on to other groups, or they get a taste for D&D, or it's not their thing. That's fine. We'll probably get to a group of 5 or 6, which is very much a classic D&D thing. So if it's slow, just try sticking with it. But you also might move on. I'm going to do this every 2 weeks. The stories continue. If you want to change your character, I'll send some messages, or send me a message. If you want to come back to a different character, that's fine. But all these consequences roll forward. I'm making all these notes about how you affected the world going on and get deeper into the story. XP. You all get 100 XP. So write down on your index card, 100 XP. Now you all have 50, so you're halfway to level 2. You also get some loot. I'll just very quickly go through this because we're at 9 o'clock. Once you split up the loot from the kobolds, each of you get 3 silver pieces. So write down in your little coin section, down when the SP is at the bottom of your sheet, write down an extra 3 SP. 10 SP is equal to 1 gold piece, and a gold piece is like a $50 note, so that's a decent amount. You also, each of you choose, you don't have to take these, they all have prayer beads, and you who are religious, who already did this thing before, they are prayer beads for Tiamat. So write down Tiamat prayer beads. Each of you, each kobold has it, so you get those. Tiamat prayer beads are pretty shiny, multicolored stones, sort of on a little chain that you can kind of play with as you pray. Who knows what those are good for? The boss, the goblin boss, has a purse full of gold pieces. Once you split it up, you each get 1 gold piece. So write down 1 gold piece as loot. For you, looted from the boss.
To do just like
Yeah, so what I do is I pre-split it. Now, if you all want to say like, oh, I'm going to give this to you because you're such a wonderful player, you can do that amongst yourselves. But you'll start off with 1 gold piece and you can do that. He has a big ring of torture needles. These are like long, wicked needles, like little saws at the end. They're bloody and sticky. They look really wicked. They might be able to be sold for a little something because they're good metal, but they could really be used to intimidate. But also, if you're caught with one of these things, it might be like being caught with a knife by a cop. Like, it might get you in trouble. It's your choice. If you take one off, write down goblin torture needle down in your possessions. Could be useful to use, could get you in trouble. Your decision on whether you take a torture needle or not. Last thing, he has around his muscular neck, you can see now that he's all sort of pieces on the floor, it looks like a bunch of like little berries or rocks or something strung on a necklace until you realize that they're all fingertips. A necklace where he's strung an iron chain through about a dozen fingertips at different ages, and they're all sort of withered and mummified. It's nasty. It smells like dead fingertips, but it looks absolutely wicked. There's only 1 necklace of fingertips. If you would like to be in the running to be the one that wins the necklace of fingertips, you adventurers all get out your dice and roll, and whoever rolls highest gets it. So if you roll a die, you're in the contest for the necklace of fingertips. Roll now if you want to have a chance of getting this wonderful prize.
Look at that.
2 20s in a row.
I was hoping that.
Okay.
MVP.
Do you have a character name, by the way? I'm going to write this down here. So,
Yuki the Sly.
Yuki the Sly. Rogue gets fingertips. Okay. You might be able to buy it off of Yuki later on, borrow them from Yuki later on, but they are yours, Yuki. All right, great. Done that, I've done that. Again, if you have to leave, that's all the most important stuff. Next is just the vote for what happens in the next few minutes. So if you are about to go, make sure you fill out your comment form. You have a ratings form. Please be honest with your feedback. I really value it. I put it into a spreadsheet. It's all anonymous. It helps everybody every next year, so please give honest feedback on that. And those of you who need to leave right away, do, but I'll go into a quick discussion. You get to choose your path of what happens next time.
Quick question.
Yeah.
The half-orc that was tortured.
Yeah.
Is that going to be an option?
Ah, good. I'll note that you thought of that. You know, it's only like 1 group in 5 that ever thinks of that person again. So you're going to see if you can make sure that he doesn't die. Okay. She, sorry.
Thorgrim.
That's right, Thorgrim. Okay, I'll make a note of that. So yes, Thorgrim is barely alive. It's a good thing you thought of that because you are able to stabilize Thorgrim. All right. Nobody's unconscious. I've got that. Okay. Those who are staying to do a quick vote. I asked this because this is where you have many choices. You can all vote on something completely crazy next time, but you're stuck in a fairly constrained place. The Caves of Chaos you discovered. There's a few things, so I'll give you some strong suggestions for what to pick among. But in the future, I'm not going to be quite so restrictive. This is usually when you can bring in something crazy. When you all talk at the pub about what you want to do next time, you can start bringing those ideas. But I suggest you pick one of these because they're all interesting. All right. So one is what I call the red path. Torg, who's wearing red, collects himself, and he seems to go back. He goes back to the trap door. He seems to like go on patrol, but he now says with respect in his eyes, like, "You strong, this strong." He points to the trap door. For the strong, get treasure, get power, join us. And he touches the red insignia. Now you know something about the Reds, so if you pick this, your morality might get challenged, right? From what you can tell, the Reds, they're nasty people, right? They've got a bad reputation that you've learned. You don't necessarily have to sign up for it, but you'll be exposed to make some moral choices. Also, you're going to go into a dungeon underground. That usually means some, traps and some puzzles and some fighting and stuff. But there's going to be sort of like a grim storyline. This will be for the next couple sessions, maybe, if you go there, or one session, right? So, remember, he's touching that red thing. You might remember something about people who wear red. Silver Path. Some of you sneak down here, like some of the kobolds fled, or if any ran away. Like you sneak down to the kobolds, You peek into that kobold machine shop. The machines are all running. There's still lots of kobolds there, but a portcullis is slammed down. Once all this rout happened, they don't want to fight you anymore. They're scared shitless about you. But the sneaky ones sort of peeked in. You see some interesting things. First of all, we see the orrery sitting there. There's a chair covered with blood. This is obviously where the torture was happening, right? At the top of this machine shop, sort of in a nest, is peeking out a kobold. This kobold has wings, and they have burned eyes, that rectangle over their eyes that you saw from that figure lying in the road in the introduction, and they have a silver visor hanging around their neck. So that's another clue, like what's up with these sort of silver things, people with the burned eyes, and this is where all the machinery is. You can pick this path if you want to learn more about what the kobolds are up to, why do they want machinery, why are they interested in the orrery, and what's up with this sort of burned eye thing. I call it the silver path because the silver visor shows up again. This also might be, well, you realize you've scared the kobolds. This might be an opportunity for some role-playing diplomacy. You might be able to talk your way or intimidate your way into avoiding a fight with them, right? You might be able to do something there. So take the silver path if you want to do a little bit more talking, a little bit more mystery delving. That's a little bit more of that, but it'll also involve some fighting if you like that. The last one is the goblin path. You say, screw this, when we get outside, we want to fight. We love combat. We want to fight goblins, chase them down, stop them from raiding the farms, and you'll be jumping over streams and swinging on vines and fighting in different environments and lots of combat, but it's going to be sort of high adventure, chasing that down, but also doing some good, saving villages and stuff like that. Maybe discovering more what motivates them. That's the goblin path. All right? So think about that for a second. We'll do a vote. I'm just going to do something with the recording. Again, if you want to stick around to give donations and if you want to pick out a chip, do so. Please fill out your forms. I'll be right back. Just about that. But debate amongst yourselves what you vote for.
This is my one. Yeah, I was like,
I hope you enjoyed watching us teach Dungeons & Dragons to absolute beginners. Want to know more about how we do it? Then support our nonprofit mission. Unlock extensive how-to videos and use the Courage and Chaos method yourself by using free materials that we provide. You can get all that at the link that you see here. That is tinyurl.com/teachdd, or you can click that link in the description. Of course, please like, share, and subscribe. We're going to come out with these videos every 2 weeks in this series, so I will see you again soon.